Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 52nd episode of Slime Time Sidequest, an official Dragon's Den podcast. This is one of your hosts, Lieutenant Junior Grade Platty M3.
And this is Commander AustNerevar.
And this is Master Sergeant Pendy.
Oh, shit. Sorry, this is a little embarrassing here. Here I am just a few years out of the academy, and I just realized as you were saying that I still outrank you, Pendy. Like, yikes, with all your years of service, too? I mean, what the hell happened?
I really don't want to get into it on the podcast. It was a regrettable night on Ryza.
Ryza? Oh, damn, dude! I mean, what Admiral's daughter did you screw there?
Mine.
Yikes, I didn't even notice someone was there. Who's that?
Admiral Bururian, and I was the one that pounded Pendy down to airman.
After he pounded your daughter down on Ryza?
Damn, Platty, that's a low blow.
Just like the low blow.
Platty, okay, let's not go down this path.
Just like the one you wanted to go down.
That's enough out of you, Ensign Platty.
Excuse me, sir. I mean, beg your pardon. Perhaps word hasn't reached all the way up to, like Starfleet HQ, but Commander Nerevar over there recently granted my promotion to Lieutenant Junior Grade.
Oh, I fully meant what I said, Ensign.
Platty, back to the holodeck filters for you.
Oh, fuck.
Isn't that what the holodecks are used for?
Isn't that what you...
One more word out of you, Ensign, and you'll be back to cadet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll close my mouth and guess head back to the lower decks.
Enjoy scrub duty. I'll be enjoying my time exploring strange new worlds.
Hi, everyone, and again, welcome to the 52nd episode of Slime Time Sidequest, an official Dragon's Den podcast. This is Platty M3, and as you heard tonight, I've got Pendy and AustNerevar and Bururian with me. Tonight, we're going to talk a little modern Star Trek.
Yes. Tonight, we're going to go over our favorite and maybe not so favorite moments from Season 2 of Strange New Worlds and Season 4 of Lower Decks. Maybe a little Season 2 from Picard, because we all love that one so much, don't we, guys?
All right, I'm out, guys.
Night. Cut that. Oh, night. Oh, man.
Of course, yeah, no, not so much. But that's a whole episode upon itself, just to dissect that piece of work.
I don't want to talk about it.
I
just
don't blame you.
Watching it.
So let's get right into it with Strange New World Season 2 and our favorite episodes. Platty, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so instead of going like episode through episode with this season, I figured we kind of do a little bit something different this time. We'll get more episodic when we talk Lower Decks here at the end, but just kind of thought we'd talk favorites and just moments and a whole bunch of stuff from this without like being in order 1 through 10 here. But top 3 episodes for me. You guys have heard me say this in our chat and everything, like crossover and musical, boom, boom, 100%. Those are 1 and 2. But out of the other 8 episodes, the favorite by far was the Ad Astra per Aspera. I loved the courtroom thing. I did a whole Voyager rewatch this year, which didn't really have any courtroom shit except for that Q episode. But I've been about 60% through TNG this year too. So I've seen Drumhead, I've seen Measure of a Man, and I don't know. So it's not completely recency bias, but I'm putting that up there with them.
Didn't Frakes didn't he direct the Drumhead originally? Wasn't that one of his debut directorial episodes for TNG? I don't know if anybody can verify. I only ask that because that would have been he did direct an episode this season, and it would have been great if it was this one.
Yes, he directed the Drumhead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And Ad Astra per Aspera was directed not by him, by someone else.
No, he did the crossover.
Oh, that's right. I knew that.
That's right.
They brought him in for the most Trek of Trek.
He talked about that on the cruise before the crossover ever aired.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You were on the cruise like right before that, right?
Yeah, that was like at the end of March or end of February, beginning of March. End of February, beginning of March.
Yeah. So since you mentioned that, Oz, so what was that cruise like? Like, what would someone expect if they go on a Star Trek cruise?
Well, gosh, that's a whole episode. I don't want to hijack the whole this section. There are things I could definitely talk about. So.
Is it a convention on a boat basically for 7 days or 10 days?
Well, I've never been to an actual convention, but yes, and also I gotta believe it's better because I mean, at a convention, as I understand it, you don't really see any of the cast members, other than at their panels. On the boat, you're all stuck on a ship together, and you pass people in the hallways. It's like I shared an elevator with Marina Sirtis and Chase Masterson within the first 30 minutes of getting on board.
No VIP elevators.
Yeah,
no back entrances.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Was she able to tell what your emotions were? Were they running hot?
I don't think she could because she was wearing a face mask, so that messed up her whole empath thing. That was the thing is we didn't immediately know it was her until she started talking. Said good morning to John Delancey twice on the way to breakfast. That was great.
Oh, I know. I've got some Star Trek friends that I listen to the Open Pike podcast, Open Pike Night, all the time, and I call in with my 90-second reviews and all this stuff, and I'm on their Discord, and not that it's that busy, but we chat all the time, and I know one of the guys there that I chat with a lot is coming down because they're cruising out of Port Canaveral, right down the road from me here, and I think it's February again this year, and he was really like, oh, Matt, you should come, we should come. And I'm like, yeah, but unfortunately, I'm already taking off a week of work and 2 weeks to go on a cruise, so teachers taking off a week at a time is kind of frowned upon. Doing it twice in a year is yikes.
Yeah, we really want to go to the next one, but we have a newborn, so
yeah. That congratulations, by the way. It's the first time I think you've been on since that happened.
Yeah, it just happened
very
2 weeks ago.
So yeah,
another little Nerevar.
Yep. We were actually, because our first son is named after the character Riker. We were going to name her Marina, but we just didn't. That name just didn't gel with us longer. We had, you know what it was? Somebody was talking about a boat marina, and as soon as we heard it, we were like, no.
What did you go with?
Colette.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not Star Trek inspired, but
for the worst opening ever, as you dubbed it already, I was gonna have you be the admiral that Pendy was pounding, and I'm like, oh, you just had a new daughter. I can't put that in there. I can't write you as that admiral.
Yeah.
I gotta switch that up. I was going with the alliteration. I was like Admiral Aust, and then I was writing it. I'm like, nope, I can't do this. I cannot write this like this with your name on that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad I share my life with you guys now. That way you were in the know enough to dodge that bullet.
Yep. So, Pendy, we'll get back to the top 3 episodes here. What were your 3?
Also, mine were Charades.
Yes.
These Old Scientists and Subspace Rhapsody, the musical episode. The fact that Spock went full human for an episode and had to deal with all the funky hijinks that ensued was just hilarious to me. I loved it a lot, and how Spock had to struggle to deal with it and freak out sometimes. It was great. These Old Scientists, we were all really looking forward to that crossover between the two shows and had high expectations for it, and I think they actually delivered. So that was great to see.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I agree. I was just going to agree with you. I think out of all of the episodes, that one, they landed it the best.
Yeah. Just
my wife
down
said
to everything
when we watched that one, because that one released early because they were showing it at Star Trek Las Vegas that day, and they decided to drop it on the Saturday or the Sunday.
Oh yeah.
And so I quickly had the kids catch up on a couple Lower Decks, and then for the season, and then we watched that together, and my wife was like, oh crap, I'm sitting here she had a heating pad on her shoulder or something. She's like, oh damn, I'm sitting here and you're starting to watch it. Ah, fuck. So she sat there, and at the end she's like, wow, she goes, I mean, I only know about it what you guys talk about, but that seemed really good.
Yeah, the whole plot that they used to explain how one crew got to the other, and the comedy that they had with all with the boiler.
Yeah.
just trying to take in everything. It was really cool moments in that episode. I loved seeing the two crews interact with each other, and it wasn't too over the top, because they could have easily gone really too much over the top for what Strange New Worlds is as as a show, and I don't think they did. I think they struck a really good balance, and that's probably why they got Riker to come in and direct it. So
yeah, I mean they kept it really grounded with him.
Tawny Newsome, who plays Mariner, she talked about it a little bit, and I think it may have just been her, because she has been a Star Trek fan for quite a long while.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just sort of like geeking out on the bridge scenes and with all the panels, and I think like she was like, some of the crew were like saying, don't bend that way, don't break this, and she's like touching everything like we would be,
Yeah, like you're on set, like, oh man, this is the Enterprise, touch.
Yeah, and she and what's the guy who plays Boimler? Jack Quaid. I knew it was something Quaid. Mm-hmm. They were already familiar with Jonathan Frakes because I guess he's voice directed them, probably, or at least he's worked with them on Lower Decks. Because he was in season 1.
Yeah.
So like she said that they sort of had like a little click away from all the other people on Strange New Worlds. Because I mean, I guess Jonathan Frakes doesn't meet a stranger anyway. If you've ever like seen him,
I've heard,
yeah, he's just like very outgoing guy. So like they sort of formed their little group.
I heard her talking this week, and one of the questions they asked her was, "Is there anything you didn't get to do?" And she's like, they really tailored those outfits like incredibly to make them look as Lower Decks as possible.
Even the bottom of the boots.
Yep. Oh yeah, with the Starfleet logo on the bottom. But she said they tailored it so well with the rolled up cuffs that she goes, that things were so tight around her arms and her elbows, she couldn't do Mariner's crossed arm thing. No. She's like, you watch Lower Decks, and she's always got her arms crossed or whatever. She's like, I kept trying. She goes, I couldn't cross my arms. She goes, I wanted to add that into the show just to have that there, and she goes, couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's so much fun how they looked the part, and the uniforms were spot on, and they're basically they're doing the same mannerisms as much as they could from the animated show. That was a lot of fun.
Boimler had the Boimler run.
Yeah.
They got that down perfectly. Like I had to rewind and watch it again the first time, because when they cut over when he was running away from number 1, I was like, did he do the run? And it was great.
So my third favorite would be Subspace Rhapsody, which was the musical episode. I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. I was wondering, well, how are they going to turn it into a musical episode? And then how, even when they, figure out a way to, explain why they would be singing out of nowhere, how's that going to shape out? Are the songs going to be good? Can they sing? And then I sat down and watched the episode. And I was like, oh, okay, yes to everything. That was amazing. And I didn't realize that, who was the person who actually majored in musical theater?
That'd be Christine Chong.
Yeah, like
La'an,
people,
yeah.
There's there was her that she had.
Oh well,
that was like her bread and butter.
Her too. She's been on Broadway.
Yeah, and
she was part of a Tony-winning cast. Yeah,
yeah. Both of those were like two of the strongest singers, and that was an amazing episode. I mean, the only thing that I thought was a little bit much is during one of the songs where the two of them started kind of floating up in the air a little bit, which I know is kind of a musical thing.
I've got no idea what the hell that was about.
It's like a musical thing that I've seen other places, and besides like comedy musicals, I'm really not into musicals that much. But so I thought that was a little bit much. But other than that, I thought it was a great episode, and especially whenever Spock got to put in any kind of musical sarcastic.
Oh, his little asides.
Yeah, his little asides were just perfect. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Oh, no. Easily the best point of that episode for me was when the Klingons came on.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes.
I forgot about that.
Hey, Pop.
The K-Town Klingons. That was great.
Like, as soon as they came on, the captain was like, you could see him trying to physically resist singing. Like, he was fighting it.
Oh, yeah, he was fighting it, yeah.
Oh, that was great. That was great, too. I really liked that.
And then I came to learn later that the actor who played Himmer from season 1 was that Klingon captain.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Now, out there, they did record Klingon opera. They did. It is filmed. It's recorded. It's in the can. I heard I heard it both from the production design. Did an interview over the summer during the strikes. because producers weren't on strike. So heard an interview for him, and he said, "Oh no," he goes, "We didn't know how it was going." And he's like, "People smarter than me will know." He goes, "But I'm pretty sure we filmed that as a Klingon opera just in case." And then along the same lines, the Open Pike Night crew, when they were asking the fans like, who should we interview? It was like, get the songwriters. Come, they're not in the Writers Guild or whatever. So sure enough, they went out and got the songwriters and got them to talk, and they were both like, oh yeah, like they that was by far the biggest swing. They didn't think anybody was going to go for it, and no, like. The showrunner's like, no, hell yeah, let's do it. And they all were like, but just in case, let's have a little opera there. He goes, so it's filmed. They were like, we don't know if it's edited or going to be on the DVD, because actually, I think today the DVDs came out.
Oh man, they did?
Oh, they literally just came out. That's funny, because I was just Googling, like, when did the season 2 Blu-ray come out? Today. It came out today. As of this recording.
I saw people.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Excuse Aust while he goes and orders that right now.
It's only $35 on Amazon.com.
But I did see there are 2 hours of specials and whatever, so I don't know if that's there. Nobody mentioned that it would be, but I mean, I don't know where else they'd put it.
What's the after show called again?
It's after
the Ready Room.
The Ready Room.
Right, yeah, Ready Room.
Do they put those on the DVDs for the seasons?
No.
Oh, I wouldn't imagine so.
No,
that's a shame if they don't. Oh, that's too bad. Because there's some good stuff in the Ready Room episodes.
They are caught up on those.
I will say this is the first time I've ever watched them, and I watched them after every show kind of religiously this year. They were good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I like the one that they did for post season 4 of Lower Decks.
Yeah.
That's the one I missed.
Is Will Wheaton still hosting it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Once they switched to him from the 2 previous people, like, it got a lot better, in my opinion. And yeah, he's a little cheesy because it's Will Wheaton, but it brings a very cool vibe to it, and everyone feels welcome, and they're talking to Will Wheaton, so they're ready to say whatever, and they have good little bits, behind the scene bits and interviews. It's fun.
Yeah, they're produced really well. They got good spots on there. Like it's they're hey, let's cut to a 5-minute thing with the costuming people, and like that's all fun.
Yeah, the when Discovery first started, they had a show called After Trek, and I didn't feel like it was very good.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was mostly just like fluff. They didn't really go into much detail.
I didn't like the host.
And
either.
I think that's what turned me off. What's funny is I listened to the TrekMovie.com podcasts, and the lady who does their weekly one was a producer or a writer on that, at least for Discovery Season 1.
Yeah, there was someone in between, some lady who did the post show, and she was all right. She was serviceable. But then once I got Will Wheaton on it, it brought like an extra flavor to it that made it entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. She was fine, but
yeah, she was okay.
You're right. It was punched up a bit once Wheaton took over.
Yeah.
But yeah, the before we leave the musical episode, like I didn't hate it. It just was not for me, and like I really wanted to actually enjoy it. Like I was excited about it, actually, hoping it would, I don't know, gel with me. But maybe it just wasn't for me. The Klingon boy band was not like that. That was the only insulting part.
Hey, from Aust, the fact that he says I didn't hate it is pretty much a ringing endorsement of the episode. Everybody.
Yeah, I tend to
of those 15 seconds.
I tend to get passionate about Star Trek that doesn't that I don't have glowing praise for, I guess.
You don't like it to stray too far from the norm,
right?
Traditionally, not. I guess. Well, to be honest with you, most of my complaints in the past is because there hasn't been something that was like Strange New Worlds. Now that Strange New Worlds exists, the other things don't matter as much. Like I think every show can have its own niche now.
This is your home Trek.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of people have said, like Strange New Worlds is kind of like the Star Trek show that people wish they had made in the first place.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's got that tone that's much more traditional Trek, but yet still modern. And it's got a very good balance, a great balance of both.
It doesn't feel as much of a soapbox like Discovery did to me.
No. And fan reaction would have probably been a lot better if they had started with this and then like sort of branched out slowly into other genres from there. I don't think people would have gotten, because if I don't know if anyone remembers, but Star Trek fandom during season 1 of Discovery was pretty polarizing.
Yes. Very much so.
I'm sure.
I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, but yeah, I did see that there was very distinct opinions either way on that when that first came out.
So going back to K-pop for a second, that is my ringtone on my phone now. It has been for about 5 months.
The fact
I
that
love
you call
it.
it the fact that you call it K-pop.
Well, it's click on pop, man, right?
Oh my god. I was like, why do you think it sounds like Korean pop? It does not sound like Korean music. A little slow.
Pop. But it's my favorite because, I mean, who calls on the phone anymore? You know, people text. You know, you get a message, no big deal. They're only calling if there's like a problem, right? So why are you always calling me when you get your problems? It's perfect. I don't even answer my phone for like 10 seconds. I always just stare at it, like listening. I'm like, oh, I love this.
I hope you're testing your students and it just goes off really loudly in the middle of it.
One day, that'll be great.
You put a bonus question at the bottom. 1 point of extra credit. Name that song.
I did like the I can't remember the name of it. The song that Chapel sang and then Spock reprised like later on.
Oh yeah. And the mess hall was singing in there. Yeah. When she was singing about the relationship, that was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like
I'm Ready, I believe, is that one.
Like I wanted to like the episode so much that before I even rewatched, because I've rewatched the season since then, but before that happened, I rewatched that episode a second. But I even listened to the album and I enjoy some of the songs. And I do enjoy the way they made it work. Like it's not just a musical and we're supposed to accept that, hey, this is the musical episode. No, there's like a in-universe reason for why they're, you know, suddenly bursting into song. I like how they did that.
Oh, it's great. And the fact that La'an's like, holy shit, this is a security risk. Like,
yeah,
you can't keep it. Yeah. Like, it isn't just like accepted and like, oh, maybe we should get rid of this. She's like, holy shit. Like, people are singing secrets. Like, we can't be doing this. And that even like, it gets nailed home because she's telling Pike that and he's like, yeah, what the hell? And then his girlfriend calls and they start singing to each other. And like, La'an's like, goes over there and smacks that off like right in front of her. Like, cut that link.
I like that part.
I miss that we didn't get April's beautiful baritone, as Una says at one point, that he sung to her in a surprisingly beautiful baritone.
It's funny.
Oh, right. Yeah, that would have been interesting.
that would have been fun.
Oh, that does remind me though. Who's the actor who plays the Doctor?
Mbanga's. Yeah, he wanted none of that. I don't think
nothing. You could tell that he had no singing ability whatsoever, and they were able to cheat it here and there.
Yep.
So that was clever how they did that. So they didn't force him to have to sing too much.
Well, they said so the writers were sent out. I think at some point they were one of the guys that did it was sent out to go talk to the people on during season 1, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not season 1. But at some point he said he flew up to Toronto and he like sat with every single person individually and like tried to have them sing stuff. And like before they wrote all the songs, they knew like who wanted to, who could, who couldn't, who didn't want to. So like, you know, they know who to write the bangers for and they know who to, you know, who would give it his all. I mean, I think Pike, man, I think he tried really hard.
Yeah, he surprised me how good he was.
Yep.
Like you could tell like he wasn't like Uhura who could really belt one out, but he did a pretty good job. It was fun to watch him.
And they said Ethan Peck, Spock, like really wanted to. They were very surprised that he like really wanted to, and he never had before. So.
And he nailed his stuff too.
Oh God, my son still gets dressed in the morning listening to that song. Like, no, my second grader, he's going to be able to get into musical theater next year. As a matter of fact, we're going to the lower school play. I think they're doing Beauty and the Beast or something this weekend. And we got tickets to go. Wizard of Oz. They're doing Wizard of Oz this weekend. And already, like, the drama teacher keeps talking to me, like, Matt, like, when are you going to have him do stuff? I'm like, you're the one who makes the rules that no second graders in the damn production. You know, we used to do that for many years here. And she laughs. She's like, I know. Maybe I should have made an exception for Cody. I'm like, hey, he's had no training, but, like, this kid just wants to do that. Like, next year, and I've even told her, I said next year when he has to record a song to submit it for like rehearsal and everything, it's going to be from Star Trek. It's going to be on the X.
Even though I like that song,
mathematical puns in there.
I did audibly sort of laugh out loud at the how on the nose that pun was.
Oh yeah, got to solve for why I'm the X. Great stuff.
There were other episodes in this season, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we can circle back around to this stuff. I wanted to start here with our three favorites. So okay, so that was Pendy's, Charades, and then the crossover and Subspace Rhapsody. So Aust, what were your three favorites?
Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. I've opened myself up to it. So yeah, the crossover episode, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Among the Lotus Eaters is one that I don't know. I guess on the surface, the tone of it doesn't feel like one I would normally enjoy, but it felt so classic Star Trek.
It did, like original season, like classic.
Well, yeah, I mean,
kind of
it was the original idea, right? I mean, this was going back to where they just came from in The Cage. So talk about like pilot of the entire Star Trek. It's like, hey, let's go back there.
Rigel 7, yeah, you're right.
Rigel 7, yep.
Got that direct link.
That is a good point. I had actually forgotten that it was on the same planet until just now. I mean, I remember I knew about it when I was watching the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the plot reminds me a lot of some of the original series episodes. Like you would see the guy. I forget what the name of the episode is, but the guy who is on that Roman planet, and they're all Romans, and they've got like a TV. No, not Adonis.
No, that one.
It's the other one. Is it Bread and Circuses? It's the one where like this Starfleet guy goes down to the
yes,
planet,
and he
influences their civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it reminds me of, because it's sort of the same sort of deal here in a way.
Yeah.
That plot of the Starfleet guy influencing a civilization is what it reminded me of. Let me think. Number 3. Got to pick a number 3. Well, the time travel episode was
tomorrow.
Yeah. That was fun, even though I had some issues here and there with it. Overall, as for the way it was written, it was enjoyable. It's one I would want to watch over and over again.
Oh, I did. I watched that, I think, 3 times in the first week, and we're going to talk about plot lines going through, and this began something I thought I would never want to see, and was amazed by the arc that the season took with it, because I loved this episode, and I really Christina Chong was just like another actress on this show up until this episode, and that was holy shit. And it was right after this aired that Open Pike Night got her on their show, and I was able to call in, and I got some barking sounds of my dog, and my 90-second clip was praising her for her singing and whatever, and then having Spock, my dog, ask her dog that was in the first episode out on a date, and it was one of the funniest things, because I haven't been to a convention in 30 years, and I haven't been able on the cruise ship to interact with anybody, but they played that clip, and literally the night that they recorded, one of the guys on the show messaged me, and he's like, "Oh my God, Matt, wait until you hear this interview we did with her in a couple days and her reaction to your question." Just hearing Spock and talk about her dog, she just burst out laughing and just giggled for 10 seconds.
That's great.
I was like, oh my God, I did that. Fanboy. I had a little fanboy moment there.
There you go.
But no, I really, this episode rocked.
I'll have to look up that episode of that podcast. Yeah, but I agree. In season 1, I honestly didn't like her that much as a character, at least the way she was written. And they totally turned it around this season. And that episode in particular, I don't know. Part of the reason is I didn't like her in the first season is she didn't really have a character other than the whole tragic backstory thing that keeps getting.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was basically the Gorn bad. We must hate Gorn character with no development, with 0 development.
Yeah,
so basically episode, she was a character on Discovery then. Tragic backstory and nothing else going on.
Yeah, pretty much. This episode gave her some much needed character development. And I haven't been on board with the fact that we keep bringing up Jim Carrey Kirk over and over again, but because he keeps showing up a lot in a series that I wasn't really expecting to see Kirk in. But that was completely enjoyable seeing those two together in that episode.
Yeah. And again, at this point, I was like, you know what? I'm on board for what they're doing with him because it's just alternate versions of him. Like at this point, we've got alternate future one. Here we've got alternate past one. So it's like,
why not,
At this point in the season, I was like, why not? Okay, keep doing that. Then they brought him on for real and it didn't suck.
I was with you. The alternate version concept worked. I don't really want to see. That's been my whole thing. Is I don't want to see a bunch of TOS characters, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, I mean, we've seen plenty this season.
Oh yeah. We had the moments.
Honorable mention would be Under the Cloak of War, even though I'm not sure how I felt about the ending of that episode. It definitely felt like a Next Generation, diplomatic episode as opposed to, all about being action and stuff.
Yeah, the tension that they had throughout the episode was really good. That was the highlight of that episode, between the people who had seen that war and who were very upset about the guy that they were dealing with, that ambassador. But yeah, as we discussed it earlier in the Discord, the ending, while it had good intentions with the ending, with what they did, the way that they executed it was kind of sloppy. So that kind of that was going to be.
What you think there was a sloppy execution at the end of that episode?
Yeah, a little bit.
Boom.
But yeah, it was just that could have been one of my top 3 episodes because leading up to that point, it was really good. And being in the military myself, I could see where some of those people were where they were coming from based off what they had experienced. But the way that they ended it was kind of because it didn't really make sense in a few different respects.
You didn't like Mbenga getting his revenge.
It was just.
Let's just talk about this, right? He flat out just murdered the guy. But there's no other way to put it. First degree, second degree. Was he going in there to do it right away, or did it happen in the moment? But I'm reading the Wikipedia. A fight breaks out and then Mbenga kills him. No, I don't think really a fight broke out.
No. What happened?
Killed him.
What happened is what was his name? Doc Ra. Doc Ra laid a hand on him, and that was enough for Mbenga. Mm-hmm. He just turned around and did it.
And the concept of Mbenga doing bad things is fine to me because I think this is going to be along the path of how they explain of how he goes from being a ship's doctor to being a lesser character in the original series. Because something's got to happen where it doesn't have as much rank, and I don't know if it's a different rank, but as much.
He's not the lead
authority
doctor or whatever,
right?
Yeah.
Authority as he used to. So it's things like this that are starting to lead towards that, but they overdid it with this particular episode just a little bit. Yeah. And especially since not so much that he ended up killing the guy, but the fact that there's no way they could have covered it up the way that they did, and the fact that we had brought up before, why was there no security with the other guy? That makes no sense, even in the Star Trek world. Come on.
Yeah,
it's funny because this one's actually in my top 3. This one would be my number 3 is Under the Cloak of War. I actually really enjoyed the episode. Yeah, the episode ending was a little sloppy, like you guys have all mentioned, but I enjoyed everything along the way up until that.
Yeah, everything else was great. It was I said, the tension was great between all those characters.
It could have been fixed if they had made it more of an actual fight.
I think it's supposed to be the ambiguity of Chapel walks in, sees them fighting behind the shrouded glass, and then you see one of them fall. So you can never really know what happened.
Well, maybe
it was
I don't know.
Cloak.
that silhouette that they showed, to me, it almost looked fake.
You didn't like the frosted glass.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, it's like two people pretending to fight over something. It didn't.
I get it. Yeah. I mean, in my interpretation of it, Mbenga had, that whole discussion with him about how he was a coward and he was just using his position to do what he was doing, and Doc Ra didn't want to be outed as a coward because that would, basically destroy the platform he's been trying to build.
Mm-hmm.
And Mbenga just kind of took revenge on him there, also because he was, killing children, civilians, anybody not Klingon.
He was finishing the mission.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I liked Ortegas in this episode. Like she couldn't get behind it. She tried and just nope. Excuse me for dinner. Fuck
the
you.
way she excused herself and stormed off, that was great.
Not here for this. And Chapel, Spock couldn't. I mean, I know this was right at the end of the relationship anyway, but like Spock, she's like, you can't understand. This isn't something we can talk about. The PTSD.
Yeah,
and that's what a lot of people struggle with in the military with their spouses or significant others, where they've gone through something that their spouse could never understand, and it can be a struggle for the two people to relate and to help each other sometimes.
Yeah, I liked all of those elements. That's why I sort of gave it an honorable mention, because like it had a lot of the pieces to make a fantastic episode. I thought it just didn't quite hit home for me, but it's okay. We're only in season 2. They got hopefully they've got years to to hone this.
And I mean, if you think about this think about season 1 of The Next Generation. Go watch the first 20 episodes of that.
Thank you.
I mean, we don't have Yar fighting black people, and
no beardless Riker.
No.
No Irish settlers.
Who could grow a beard here in the next season? And maybe Sam Kirk's mustache grows into a full beard.
I don't know that I would want to see Pike with a beard. I think he should be.
He's got that jaw that you just can't. You can't.
Here's the wait, but Ost, we've already seen Pike with a beard.
Episode,
I know.
right?
Yeah. I just mean I don't think that should be his thing.
No. So Bururian, we haven't heard your 3. We've heard one of them now.
Well, you've heard.
You've uncloaked one.
Yeah, the end of the Cloak of War. We already discussed that one. So if I had to choose a second one, I would probably have to go with the season 2 finale for the kind of runner-up to my number 1, because more Gorn. I felt like it was kind of following the path of what happened to Hemmer in season 1 with the lead up to that. And I was just, at first I was kind of just indifferent to the episode in the first half, but then in the second half it started really picking up steam once Pike's team gets down onto the planet's surface, and we run into yet another original series character.
Which some people have some reservations with, but I was all for it. I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just like, oh, man, all right. One of my favorite Star Trek characters has shown up. Montgomery Scott.
That was a plus and a minus for me. I really liked the actor and I liked how it was done, and that was all great. But it was like still in theory, I didn't want to see that yet.
Yeah, I think I feel like it was. So I'm
pulled both ways with
early.
That one,
yeah, it was. Mm-hmm. I do feel like it was a little too early to pull him in, because I think we got like a voice clip of him in the first season.
Yep, and then in the what is it? The flash forward to 10 years episode, the season finale. There we had it.
Yeah, so we got him here, and they started pulling the same thing with what's her name? I always forget her name. Patel.
Patel, Patel, his girlfriend.
Yes,
Mrs. Pike.
Yeah, Mrs. Pike, essentially at this point, who is gotten infested with Gorn eggs. I was taken completely off guard with how the episode ended, and it basically was a to be continued cliffhanger. I was not paying attention to the time on that. I wasn't either, and then it happened, and I was just like, "Holy shit, what?"
Yeah, and the only thing I could think of was writer's strike. As soon as this episode ended.
Oh, but so they're starting to record here in either December or early January, and the speculation is how long it's going to take. And a bunch of us have done math and everything. From the start of production to usually debut has been 18 months. But hearing production design people talk over the summer and everything, this season's written. This season has been written. They were ready to go. They were going to fly the actors in the weekend of the writer's strike. So hearing some guy talk about the AR wall, this summer they were up to doing all the AR wall graphics and everything, having it already prepped through episode 6.
Oh, yeah. So that was going to be the thing I mentioned, was if anything is going to take the longest at this point, it's going to be all the CG work. And as it's a Star Trek show, there's a lot of CG work. And
yeah, so it's all the post-production that'll take a while. So I think with this cliffhanger, they gotta I've seen some rumors what if we did 5 episodes and 5 episodes like Discovery's done before? Maybe you could just bring back 5 episodes next November, December.
Do you guys
wait
remember
till April to do the other ones?
Do you remember the last writer's strike that happened, 10 plus years ago. A lot of
Yes.
TV shows started doing that. If they just split the seasons in half and released them either over the course of a year or two or at different parts of the year.
Or they just cut them short.
Yeah,
entirely.
or they just cut them like that. Yeah, a lot of TV.
The longer ones, though.
I mean, a lot of
Well,
other
yeah, I don't
TV
see
shows
this
used to
getting-
go.
10 is still 10.
I mean, well, if you remember 20 years ago, a season of Star Trek was 26 episodes, and now we're down to 10.
Yeah.
I don't think they cut the number, but I hope they don't like just say, hey, we'll just release this in April of 25. You remember what happened, 20 months ago?
So
Here we
so
go,
that-
and now
that-
the continuation.
That kind of happened with another TV show I'm watching, the Wheel of Time TV show, because COVID happened and all those restrictions. It was like 2.5 years between the first and the second season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was with Amazon doing the show. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so Hedge Money.
Mhm.
Great lead up. I can't wait to see where it goes with that cliffhanger, because we saw Pike has been a very reserved and very tactical captain this entire time, and now that part of his crew and all of the civilians have been stolen by the Gorn, we get to see him break a little bit at the end of the episode. He doesn't know what to do.
He's frozen. Yeah. Well, it's his crew and his girlfriend too.
Yeah. No, she's she's in sickbay. They got her.
Well, that's right. They put her in stasis too.
Yeah, they put her in
said that,
stasis because they showed at the end. So no, it was Mabanga and La'an, I think, that got taken.
La'an's down there. Ortegas is down there. Yes, because Pike brought Ortegas, La'an, and Mbanga down with Sam Kirk.
La'an,
Sam Kirk's down there too.
Oh yeah.
Sam, don't kill Sam. You got to die somewhere else.
So we're on the cliffhanger of the Starfleet has said retreat. Half the main officer crew is captured, and Pike is at breaking point. So
I know some fan speculation is, okay, are they going to kill somebody? Like one of those people is probably going to die over there, which I don't really think they are, because, you're only 20 episodes in. We've already killed off Hemmer. Like, we had the emotional kill off a crew member. We know Mbanga can't die. We know Sam Kirk can't die. But you've got Ortegas and La'an over there. And I know I keep referencing this podcast because they get everybody on, but they've had Bill Wilkoff on like 3 different times now. And he's his first interview when they came back from the writer's strike. They in between season 1 and season 2, they asked every person that came on, can you give a one-word tease, one word about the next season that like totally won't mean anything until we actually watch the episodes? And then people were giving them stuff like Orion Sunrise, which ended up being the drink that they were popping, and I think these old scientists, they were having the it was, they were drinking the Orion Sunrises when Uhura figured out how to translate the words on the time machine thing down on the planet. But already Bill Wilkoff, who's the head writer for this show, he gave them his one-word tease for season 3, and it's more Tagus. So we're not getting less Tagus, we're getting more Tagus.
More Tagus.
Good.
Right.
If they were to kill her off,
die.
Or
Oh my God, they better not kill off La'an. I already fell in love. We can't kill off La'an now.
Well, more Tagus. What if that is a slash fiction crossover of Mbanga and Ortegas? More Tagus.
That's fine. They had, they had a great scene in the the Ed Astrera per Aspera episode. They were like having lunch, looking over at Spock, who was eating with that
the other Vulcan.
The other Vulcan guy, and they're just like, calmly sitting there, and they're, Mbanga and Ortegas are like making fun of them, like they're probably like, oh, hello, blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah,
blah, blah,
that was fantastic.
Yeah, and then Spock comes over and he's like, I'm sorry you had to witness that outburst. And it's like completely nothing. I mean, it was like, all those episodes, was it season 2 of Lower Decks with T'Lyn in the Wage Douche episode where she was like calmly explaining stuff to her commander, and he's like, these outbursts won't be tolerated. And you're just watching it like, what outbursts are you talking about?
A Vulcan outburst, apparently.
A Vulcan outburst, yep.
But if I have to, it's very clear on what the top episode for this season is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it the old scientists? The TOS?
Those old scientists, yep. Because I'm already a huge fan of Lower Decks. Like, I've watched both seasons of Strange New Worlds 2 to 3 times each, probably. But Lower Decks, I've got the Blu-rays of the first 3 seasons. I have these on all the time watching them. I probably watched the first 2 seasons probably like 10 plus times at this point.
Oh my goodness.
They're so digestible. I mean, they're 30 minutes apiece.
They're great. So when I watched the episode, I was talking to my dad, who is also a longtime Trek fan, who got me into it. He's been watching it since it aired in the 60s. He watched this episode, and he hadn't seen any of Lower Decks yet. And I told him going in, this is going to be a crossover episode with an animated show, so it's going to be a little different. And he watches it, and he goes, I really liked the characters of Boimler and
yes,
and Beckett Mariner. So he was like, he went and he started watching Lower Decks, and he watched all of season 1 and part of season 2. And he texts me one night and he goes, Beckett Mariner is my favorite Star Trek character ever.
Aww. Has he got to the end of season 4?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
He's very slow about watching.
He's gonna fall in love with her all again.
Oh yeah, but it was probably the best crossover episode of anything I think I've ever seen, and
it just had so much.
It was fantastic on how it led into them getting sucked in. We got to learn a little bit more about Orion culture because of it.
We got a whole lot more in Lower Decks. That was great.
Yeah.
We never
already
learned about Orion culture in any of classic Trek, really.
Nope,
like at all. The only
they're green and they're pirates. That's all we got.
Yeah, and the only times they show up in the original series, it's like the cage, which not even a real Orion. That's an illusion. Yeah. And then there's another one in another scene in the animated series, I think, which also is not actually a real occurrence. I think it's like a dream or something.
There's a ship captain, right? There's a ship in that in the because I've been hearing about how they brought the ship back as part of the Lower Deck season 4. Like,
I don't remember.
And I don't remember either. I vaguely remember that it was there, but whatever it was not.
And then there was that brief outing in Enterprise that told us a little bit about the Orions. But other than that, like, we've had virtually nothing other than green and pirate, like you said.
Yep. And I just love that the fourth wall kind of breaking name of this too. These old scientists.
Yeah, I didn't catch it at first either, but upon
it's just a throwaway line from like early season 1 Lower Decks.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish is, even if we only got like a 5-second shot of them like looking through the time portal and seeing the other side, we got to see a live action of the other two.
Guess that's hard to do. You know, we really don't have green people, and
I mean,
but I know in all the other live action shows, yes, they're fine. They're green.
It would have been. It would have been nice.
End
to
of
see.
that we got the animated. What is it? Pike and everybody.
Yeah, the Strange New Worlds cast animated, that little bit at the end. I love that. That was a little button on the episode.
They were fantastic about doing that stuff. Like the intro for the show was it was animated. It was the Strange New World intro, but it was animated and it was fantastic.
Koala.
Oh yeah,
my son almost hit the skipped intro, and I caught it just enough in time that something was off. I was like, no, don't hit the skip intro. Oh my God, this is animated.
And then, on the other side of that coin was the Subspace Rhapsody intro. It was an a cappella version.
Yes, it was.
Of
that was
the opening.
Yeah.
So they really did. I think they did a really great job with the season. I personally felt it started a little weak, but it just picked up steam real fast.
Yeah, I agree with you, because the first episode was kind of weak a little bit for certain reasons I'll get into later. Yeah. But like you said, it picked up steam real quick, and it was just a very, very cool season. And I love whenever a show does something like that, where they kind of tweak the opening to kind of reflect what they're doing later in the episode. That was great how they did that for both of those episodes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we've talked like full episode things that we liked, and we can get right back into that kind of stuff. Like, what are some favorite like one-off moments, and mentioned from any episode that you like? I think going back and listening to some of the stuff that I submitted to Open Pike Night, I was listening to my 90-second clips that I'd recorded throughout the season, and I was like, oh my God, this was really a good one too. The facial expressions of people throughout the season, and like two of the big ones that I thought of were, there wasn't much for the crew to do during the trial scenes, But they were like sitting in their conference room watching the trial on TV, and just some of their facial expressions were like, "Oh damn!" Like they were reacting to the things that were happening, and like just like it was interesting watching what was going on. And then one of the other times I really liked the way Pike emotes everything. Just him in the background of so many things, especially when Pendy, you mentioned the episode. What is it? The charades.
Charades.
Where he's just playing, host to Spock's future in-laws, and just the stuff he's in the back. He's like, "Hey, you want another of the appetizers?" And the father-in-law's like, "Yes, I would love one." And he like just jumps up and runs off to get him. And he's just, his fate, gosh, just the way he looks. He was so excited at the end of the trial when Una was found not guilty and could return. He just like jumped up and gave her a big old hug. That's not something you'd see from a lot of the starship captains. He was just like so happy that she was back, and just his facial expressions in the when the Klingons started singing were great. I mean, again, just a 15-second thing.
Just kind of that blank yet surprised look at what was happening.
Yep. So, I mean, I like these, just like those little looks throughout the season got me. So I guess good editing, good capturing of different scene times like that and putting it all together. So I'll wait for some other one. Anybody else have some funny scenes?
Well, not funny. Well, sometimes funny, but I really like
your favorite moments. Yeah.
I really like the addition of Pelia this season as the new engineer, who's played by Carol Kane, who I had seen in some previous movies from, back in the day. I think the place that I remembered her the most was from Scrooged, which is the Christmas Carol with Bill Murray from the 80s, which is when she's one of the ghost of the ghosts that visit him. I think she's the ghost of Christmas Past, maybe. I can't remember. But she's hilarious in that, just smacking him around. And I just loved everything about her character in this new season. It was cool to see someone completely different from what they had before, and I loved what she brought to the show.
I am 100% with you on that, Pendy. Like I loved it, especially when she was having that back and forth with
Scotty?
with number one.
Number one, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, on the I think what was that? Lost in Translation was the episode.
Yes,
because she goes, "Why don't you like me?" And
she's a bad student.
Yeah, you were a C student. It's just like, that's not why.
And then Scotty ended up being a bad student too.
No, he was. She said
they pulled that joke out.
They didn't do the same joke twice. It was that he was the best student that she ever had, is what she said.
Oh, but like, I thought she didn't like him for some reason though.
Maybe it was, I don't know. I just remember her going, he was the best.
It might have been like the most talented, but you didn't do it the right way or something like that. Like,
yeah. But anytime that she appeared, when Uhura goes up to her, it's just like, "Hey, I've got this crackpot theory I want to do," and she just looks at her like,
all for it.
Yeah. She's like, "I love the crackpot."
And she's of a species that they, correct me if I'm wrong, they haven't really done before.
They have not. No.
It's sort of like the species that Guinan was, sort of, kind of along those same measures. They live a very long time.
Yeah, that kind of longevity for sure.
They should have just, well, I guess they don't want to have her be an Elorian, because then she would.
Wait, wasn't she an Atlantean? Didn't they say?
Lanthanite.
Lanthanite. Sounds like a mineral.
I don't remember. I feel like they mentioned it like they've
you might be right.
Twice.
Lanthanite. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
They've been there for thousands of years.
Right.
They only were detected about 100 years before.
I mean, we did get to see her in the time travel episode because, La'an was just like, because she had previously mentioned in the episode that she used to work at this little shop and this place. And when La'an time traveled, she knew where to go.
Well, that's the entire reason that they created the race or her species. I'm certain.
Probably
for that episode.
For that, yeah.
And it's
because I'll be honest, they didn't do as much with. And see, this is where I'm like, I don't want Scotty, stay away, because she did such an awesome job. I want more of her. I want her to be like full cast.
I feel like Scotty is going to be kind of
they got her part time like Hemmer did.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go like he's recurring but not main cast.
Scotty was my favorite TOS character. I don't need more TOS characters in my Strange New Worlds yet.
Not yet, at least. I mean,
Thank God Chekhov's way too young.
Like they can phase them in after the at the end of the series, like maybe when they're trying to bridge the gap between this and TOS. But it's like, when they bring on more of these characters, there's no drama because they can't die.
I really did enjoy at the end of Lost in Translation, though, when Uhura introduced James to Spock. That was a nice little thing, as they basically just kind of zoomed out of the bar and the door shut, and I was just like, all right, that here's their meet cute.
And you know what? What a tiny little thing that they did there, that because there were two spaceships together on that mission, Pike had to get temporarily ranked up to Fleet Admiral.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
And that goes back to the TOS where, oh yeah, Kirk met him once, briefly, when he was a Fleet Admiral.
Nice.
So at the end of this,
and then they threw that out in the musical episode because he met him again.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean,
they sung together. Damn it!
Stuck around long enough, he'll probably get rescued and go off and do his own thing next season. If I had to imagine,
must have blocked that part out because I don't remember it.
Which part?
The meaning in the musical.
Well, he was on the ship that episode.
He's on the bridge at the end.
He's on the bridge. He sings. He's like, if I ever become captain, it'll be all thanks to you.
Yeah, I saw that episode twice, and I'm telling you, I must have repressed most of it.
You just got the James Kirk block on there. Like, nope, don't want to hear anybody sing.
Well, it's because Jim Carrey. Don't want to see him James Kirk. I expect him to be.
No, that's
yeah.
So
the duet with Una.
We've talked about things we like.
Oh, hold on. Any more other things you like? I got one more.
One more.
I'll do mine real quick. I fly the ship. I love that moment.
Oh, that's pretty good. I am Ortegas. I fly the ship.
Yes, I love that.
Her first B plot, that was great. That we got a lot of, and man, the camera stuck with her for a long time there. That was a really long.
I did like the conversation with the computer.
That was good.
Any moment that has to pring in it is my favorite moment because that is I like to pring.
Oust has it for the Lady Vulcans.
Yeah.
I was more into her father.
Because
he was just great. He was such a kept man. I felt like he was me too. Like, oh, food. I'll take some food. Hey, don't eat that right now. Shut up. Stop. I was at a wedding this past weekend, and let me tell you, the caterers knew who to bring the last of every tray of food around to. Lady kept coming to me. She's like, come on, I got 2 left. Just take them so I can go back to the kitchen. I was like, all right, you know me. But yeah, him with Pike's food, and he was so into playing charades. That was great. He was like fixated on that, whereas the mom was, meh. But then I loved in same episode, we had Blue and Yellow, those interdimensional AI phone operators.
Oh, that was great. This whole episode, it just kind of reminded me, like if they took Star Trek, and Aust, you may cringe at this a little bit, but if they took Star Trek and kind of made it into a, what's it called?
A sitcom.
A sitcom. Basically, it was a Star Trek sitcom.
It definitely was. Yep.
But they didn't make it too much like a sitcom that they kind of took you out of it. It was just, it had those elements to it, which I recognized and I thought were great.
Well, I think even more than the first season, they went really genre heavy. You had, so you started with like a typical Star Trek episode with the Broken Circle. Then you got courtroom episode. Then you got time travel episode. Then you went back, Among the Lotus Eaters was, your typical, again, Star Trek episode. But then you're in charades, you're in the sitcom. And then Lost in Translation, okay, you're back to typical Star Trek. Then you got these old scientists, like wacky ass crossover. Under the Cloak of War, you got a war episode, like swing way. And I mean, that Under the Cloak of War was such a tonal shift. You're like going from these old scientists to Under the Cloak of War to a musical. Like those 3 weeks were woo, woo, woo. So I know before the season started, they kept talking about like they're going to take big swings. That was the marketing thing. We're taking a lot of big swings. We're taking bigger swings in season 2, and it was more of a tonal swing that they kept doing.
Well, that's the strength of this type of storytelling, because there are episodes here that I don't like and episodes here that some of you like, and vice versa. And it's not like a whole season.
Everybody.
Yeah, it's not like a whole season that falls flat for if you don't like where that season's going, you're not going to like the whole thing.
Oh, hey, Discovery. Any other favorite moments?
At the beginning of the season, I don't know if I was as much of a fan of like Super Black Ops Warrior Mabanga, but by the
Captain Nebula here. Nurse Nebula. Sorry, Captain Planet and Nurse Nebula. That's what I kept calling them.
Yeah, but by the time that Under the Cloak of War rolled around and we got more of a backstory on it, I was like, I'm actually kind of digging this a lot because we have that Andorian sergeant or lieutenant or someone who comes up and he's just like, Mabanga, we need you. And he's like, I don't do this anymore. I'm here to help people. And I'm like, I don't know why I like this, but it is just striking the right chord for me.
So I got a question. Is he going to have his battle meth on him when he's on the Gorn ship? Are we going to get that one more time?
Well, I mean, he's the one that created it and knows how to synthesize it, so maybe.
And he never goes anywhere without it. He
That's
very
true.
clearly said that.
He's always got it. I mean, as we saw in the first episode of the season, he's always got it, a vial of it. He actually had a couple of vials because he gave one to Nurse Chapel. I
Battle Meth Ortegas?
Battle Meth Ortegas. Battle Meth on. Can you imagine Battle Meth on?
Oh my God, yeah. She'd be so happy to just tear through them.
Yeah, she'd be like a super soldier.
Mm-hmm.
She would be letting her PTSD fuel her rage.
Mm-hmm.
We've already seen it once, but now we get to see it methed up.
Well, speaking of meth, Pendy, we'll skip over the next section because you kind of hinted it. Now that we've talked our favorite moments, should we talk our least favorite moments? Because Warrior, I see that's on yours and it's on mine. Warrior and Mbanga wasn't up for the battle math scene.
I don't so much mind Warrior and Benga. It's just that the first fight scene in the first episode was so bland.
It was. I will fully admit, it was not good.
No. Nope. And they make in the after show they make such a big production out of we did this and we did that, and I'm like, well, I'm sure you guys worked really hard on it, but I'm sorry, but the choreography for that was just ugh. Yeah,
I was not really not a fan of it the first time I saw it, but it grew on me. Well, I still don't agree with as you said, the choreography of that fight was any good, which it wasn't.
And it felt like, I feel like I know they introduced it so that they could reference it later, but they introduced it, I felt like, too early and then didn't say anything about it, especially within that episode. It's like, they're doing drugs now and they're fighting, like, okay, that's cool, but then you're going to explain it? Nope, okay.
Nope, yeah. You had to wait, 7 episodes to get that explanation.
Yeah, it makes for like standalone watches where you just like watch random episodes from a show. It's going to make it rather confusing, which is a way that Strange New Worlds, like I think it's going to be a good way to watch it. Is just watch your favorite episode or, like.
Yeah, with all the different genres, that's a good way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a smaller one for me would be in the final episode of the season, Hegemony, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They pulled a Chekhov's gun. When they introduced all of that Gorn weaponry, they used a little bit of it, but Uhura specifically pulls up and she goes, a cryo grenade, and they never used it.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about that. God, I had a joke about that box too. What is it? Break. Oh, no, Ortegas' joke about the box. Break in case of Gorn. that was good.
But maybe we'll get that in the follow-up of...
Well, now that you mentioned it, like, you think they got it, right?
We don't know who has it. We just know that they've got Gorn, or weaponry that can hurt the Gorn.
It should be down on the planet. I mean, I wouldn't think that they took it with them when they left.
I mean, maybe their security is as faulty as the Star Trek security is when they had that.
Well, I was going to say, listen, we let frickin' like our number one Klingon BFF... Yeah, Ambassador just get janked in the med bay, so who knows what's going on down that planet.
Yeah, it's a very minor nitpick, but I was like, I wanted to see them use the grenade because they made enough of a deal about it. And then when Nurse Chapel is, she's in the disc of what was the name of the ship that Batel was on? The Cayuga. That was it. They show when she's like trying to find her way to Spock, and you see the adult Gorn trying to guess the password to get in somewhere, and you look over and you see the cryogenically frozen Jeffries tube, and we didn't see her use that.
Well, see, now, despite that was a good fight scene when they had the...
I was just about to ask that. Like, okay,
fight.
We talked about a bad fight scene. That was a good one.
That was how you
That was after this.
Oh, yeah, it was afterwards. But when they got to that point where they had that fight in no gravity, that was a good fight scene. That I enjoyed. That was like... I remember seeing that and watching that and being like, man, this is how you do a good fight scene in Trek. Not that like the first episode, this kind of stuff. That's where they actually got a little inventive, and it was very entertaining. The very slow, no gravity. Oh, that was fun. I like that a lot.
Other than that, I don't have a lot of more complaints about the season outside of that, to be honest. It was a really solid season outside of a weak beginning with the first episode, The Broken Circle.
For me, and this is like a constant complaint that I don't like about Star Trek when they do it, is the time travel episode. Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it when Star Trek goes to the modern world, because I'm like, well, that's like a billion shows are in place in the modern world, and it's boring to me, and it's got
like just don't like Toronto.
Like
that's what you are. You're anti-Canadian.
Oh,
maybe.
I totally forgot. You know, I forgot about it because I disliked it so much, and much like Oust, I repressed it, like you did with the Subspace Rhapsody. I was not a fan.
Yeah, and how they got away, how they got the cops to leave them alone to try and embarrass them, even though they weren't really doing anything wrong.
Yeah. No.
That didn't make any sense.
What I'm saying is, I was not a fan of that whole romance subplot with La'an and Kirk. I did not like that.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay. I was just.
We're gonna get into plot lines in a minute, and that's gonna be my number one.
I was just. I'm just always bored by those episodes and movies where they go back when they go to the present day world. I'm like, do more sci-fi.
Oh, so you're not a fan of nuclear vessels?
No, and the whales and all that stuff. No.
I always loved those as a kid. I think there's definitely a line where it can be overdone. But
season 2 of Picard.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's the problem. It's a whole season of that.
Yeah.
But
touche.
I don't know. I had problems with the time travel episode, but I liked. I don't know. It was fun to watch for me.
I did too. I mean, Kirk not putting any freaking toppings on the goddamn hot dog. I could not watch that. No, dude, you just can't eat that hot dog.
Let this be known, dear listener. Platty has mentioned this probably a dozen times.
Oh my god!
And I have a vinyl sticker now that says Kirk was wrong, and it has a hot dog with toppings on it.
You know what? Every time I've never once mentioned that I always eat my hot dogs plain.
What? I'll have to send Ost the sticker that says Kirk was right with the plain hot dog.
Apparently, I'm a Kirk guy.
Wow. Are you from the future?
I might be, yeah. I'm not from Iowa.
He's from a very bleak future. They probably didn't have condiments in his future. I forgot. They didn't have gravy on his poutine.
Yeah, I'm from the Cleveland timeline.
Oh my god. I didn't even think of that. All this time I've complained about this, and I never once thought there was no gravy on his poutine. Maybe he didn't know that condiments existed. That literally blows my mind right now.
Did you see how excited he got about actual made cookies at the end of Lost in Translation?
He just wants that. Well, he did grow up on a planet where people were being executed because there wasn't enough food. So,
yeah, because there's a lot of things that in that present day, he was like, oh, we never had this kind of thing because everything was so bleak where he came from.
Well, no, even in TOS, he was at one point when he wasn't in Iowa, that was the whole the thing. What was the guy that he was ruling that colony? There's a whole TOS episode about it.
Oh, you're talking about the Conscience of the King?
Yes.
Episode. Oh God, what was the name of you asked the name of the planet?
No. I know what you're talking about. At one point, he grew up on a colony, and they executed some of the colonists.
Yeah, they killed
because there wasn't enough supplies for everybody to live.
There was a Discovery book written about that, and it's actually really good. Yeah, it's like a season 1 book. That's when it came out, and and I think it was actually before the whole reveal at the end of season 1. I don't really want to. I don't know. Should I spoil it? Does it matter? Is everyone here seeing season 1?
Yes.
Of what? Discovery?
Yeah, Discovery.
Yeah.
That book came out before the whole Mirror Universe reveal with Lorca. So it's like they're writing about Lorca, and it's very different characterization, but it could be Prime Universe Lorca, But yeah, it's all about that, and it has Kirk in it, and when he's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Oh, Platty, you were making a joke about Canada, and that was one of the few things I loved about the episode was that it was actually in Toronto. Toronto was being played as Toronto. Yeah, because usually Toronto is played as New York City or Chicago or wherever, but now they were just like, no, let's just do Toronto for Toronto, and I did appreciate that because oftentimes Toronto is overlooked because it's used as pretend for other American cities. So
and they even went full on the nose with it too because Kirk's like, oh, we're in New York. She was like, no, this is Toronto. All right, so we got our little complaints in there. Since we keep bringing this up, I was going to talk about see if you guys had any things that you liked that went through the season because they did callbacks to themselves and they had a couple little arcs. Obviously, Spock and Chet North Chapel getting together, but I think Oz, you agree with me here with this one. I liked the La'an and Kirk thing. Thought it was completely bizarre.
Boo.
But the fact that it quickly went away because she fell in love with different Kirk, holy shit, like she broke, even in her song she talks about break her own heart, like that's one of the lines from there, like, or worse, break my own heart, which totally happened because what do we get? She falls in love with him one episode, kind of calls him on the phone, like has that quick little cameo at the end of that episode. Not much. They see each other a little bit in Lost in Translation, but don't get to talk very much because there's too much going on. But then, flat out in the musical episode, he's like, sorry, I'm having a kid with somebody else. Maybe another time, another place. That would have been great.
Yeah, didn't they do that with a few different... Yeah, they did that with a few different ongoing relationships where I saw some of you kind of upset, like, oh, this doesn't happen in the original stuff. And they, would go kind of out towards something that wasn't what originally happened, but then they brought it back in and they kind of cut it off. And I thought the way that they did that with a couple different relationships was good.
I'll tell you what, Boimler cockblocked Spock big time. Talking to Chapel in the... Oh, no, wait, was it Mariner? Or
no,
Boimler that said something?
It was...
No, Boimler was constantly creeped out by Spock with his creepy human smile.
It was Boimler because he said something to Chapel. Chapel's like, oh, like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we studied Spock a lot and there's just no mention of you.
But yeah, there's no mention of him ever like cracking a smile, and then she sort of reacts coldly, and he says, oh, you're the one that's influencing him, and then he realizes he needs to stop talking.
That's right.
Yeah, you're right. They did have a couple of moments like that where it's like, this is not gelling with canon, but then they do the Uno reverse where it's like, things sort of snap back to the way they were, and it's like, okay, well that makes sense. This is just a little outing,
it's a couple months out of their years of life.
Speaking of canon, I hate. Oh man, I didn't harp on this too much in the Discord because I'm always the one that does this. I really disliked like what they did at the end of the time travel episode where it's kind of I don't see how they could do an Uno reverse on this one because it's pretty much just like they rewrote the whole Khan thing.
But they explain it. It's all explained.
What that the date got pushed up that he that time people keep trying to stop the eugenics wars and it keeps getting pushed out. Yeah,
and I don't know if you've seen
that was all covered.
Henry Alonzo Myers talked about it too. Why they're doing this? Because obviously it's 1996 96 has passed. I don't know about you. I don't remember eugenics war. But they always want Star Trek to feel for everybody like it's a future that still could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but...
Oh, I know. It rewrites stuff, but... I mean... There's a temporal Cold War out there, man.
You can still feel like it's going to happen,
and not
even if it's an alternate universe from us, because obviously it is. Like, I mean, we could go 100 years, and there, the events that occur in the Star Trek timeline are probably never going to occur exactly like they do here. I don't know. I didn't like that, and I feel like they could have handled the eugenics wars differently. It doesn't have to be. They haven't explained in the show exactly, like within detail, exactly what they were like. But anyway, I didn't. I tried not to get too negative about that when the episode aired because, like I said, I'm always the one that's like being a nitpicking with canon. But that's a testament to how enjoyable, how well written this season is. That I still enjoyed a lot of that episode, even though the ending sort of was. I was sort of sour on that point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you talk about the eugenics wars. That was a little off comment they made in, I want to say, the Cloak of War one, where they mentioned that 100 million people died during the Klingon Federation War. And I thought that was an awesome comment because I feel like they always botch numbers when they say stuff in Star Trek. They're like, oh, think of all the millions of people that died when that planet blew up or that civilization ended and just 1 million people were gone. I'm like, what? There's 1 million people that live in my freaking county.
Yeah.
Like, I know Wolf 5357, they lost thousands of Federation people. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, how many ships do you have? They never really give a sense of scale, but like giving a number like 100 million, then you're like, holy shit, that's a lot. That's like, it's not like a few million people died, little outpost here. Cause I mean, they don't hire a lot of extras. You beam down to a planet and you see like 5 people all the time. Maybe 10 if they pay for a few extras. But like that gives like scale to how massive you would think interstellar wars are. I mean, if you're spread out and hundreds of planets and everything, like, yeah, that would be just a little throwaway line, but like something like I still think about it. Like, you got the numbers right, guys. Good job.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. But yeah, I'm definitely with you on team Lon, Kirk. I mean, obviously, it can't happen in the Prime universe, at least not to any, it can't have any sort of longevity to it.
Hey, if we get a mirror universe episode, right?
Yeah.
Alternate Kirk, alternate Lon.
Yeah.
Watch them be like emperor and emperor of the
Yeah, but would it be Prime Universe Lon and alternate Kirk? We've never seen that much of Mirror Universe Kirk except for like the 2 seconds where he's like freaking out in TOS. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like they had chemistry.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised to think that too. Very surprised.
Apparently, Bururian and Pendy disagree.
No, I was fine with the relationship. I just didn't like the time travel episode.
I just hate romance plots, man. I just don't like them. It doesn't matter what it is. I just don't like it because it's always ham-fisted to me. It's always poorly written.
You got to fall in love and be done in 42 minutes. So
yeah, I don't want it to take
the season.
See, and I don't want it to take the limelight of the episode.
Well, I mean, even the whole stuff with Nurse Chapel and Spock, I'm like, Well,
see, that works better because it's over the course of a season. It's not like Platty said. It's not being.
You guys are putting these qualifiers on it. I still just don't like it.
And
I think the qualifiers are why we're okay with it. Like,
that's valid.
Had this whole like first season buildup of emotions come to a head in one episode and ended, I think that would have been really weird.
Especially with Spock, yeah.
Yeah. Like the fact that you had a couple episodes where you just saw them like having dinner, what is it? They were out on a date during Lost in Translation, and it just kind of was there kind of going on after charades. And then, those old scientists kind of nuked it, and under the cloak of war, you saw the tension, and then she broke up with him in song. She was ready.
Yeah, and I like that, she's going off to meet Corby on
and there you go. You're snapping back to the, canon.
Yep. Like that's I got a little excited when they brought that up because it's like, she gets to go meet Android Man. He's not.
So do you think that because right, she's supposed to be engaged pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to bring her back. So yeah,
they're engaged. Even like up to that episode in TOS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't know where he is, though, right? Isn't he?
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
I can't remember that too much either. But yeah, I mean, but hey, you know what? What a perfect rebound.
Yeah.
I just got off Spock. Like, I'm going to go back to the Enterprise. What should I do? I should probably be engaged when I go back to just, make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. They're doing
decision.
it well. They're doing it well because like we talked about in season 1 that back when I think we had Hawkeye on, it was like the whole T'Pring, Chapel, Spock triangle. Like the way T'Pring and Spock were written in season 1, it seemed like how are they going to get to the place they are in a mock time where T'Pring's basically like indifferent towards him almost.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of putting the building blocks down for that.
Do you think we're going to even see T'Pring again?
I hope so.
All right. Are we going to see his brother? I mean, they definitely set that up in season 1, and then we got no season 2 payoff of that.
Oh yeah,
That's right. I totally forgot about that.
I hope they don't. I hope that wasn't just supposed to be a reference to 5. I hope they do something with it.
You got Chekhov's brother. We got Chekhov's grenade. We got Chekhov's brother.
And everybody but Chekhov himself.
We got Chekhov's like 12 years old still. We can't have him yet. Wait till they have that episode where some kid goes running through. Man, I'd like to live here when I'm older. Chekhov, we're just catching a ride on the Enterprise now. Shit, now I see how they can do it. All right, so anything else? We've been going for a while, and I know we want to talk Lower Decks too. Although I think we won't have as much in-depth stuff about that. But anything else? Anybody want to talk anything else before we go down lower on the ship?
I fly the ship.
I fly the ship.
I have that name badge too.
Nice.
I got a bunch of cool stickers.
Would you say that I Fly the Ship is the I'm Spartacus of Strange New World Season 2?
Definitely.
Yeah, why not? It's a good one. All right, so let's with Lower Decks, since there was other than the big multi-season arc and a couple little things that I think this one's trying to go good to go maybe episode by episode, just kind of little funny things we were mentioned, because I mean I don't think the plots are super important to nail down. So season 1, it started with, a good old callback, as we were saying, how TOS, those old scientists, as a callback, we're going to Voy.
I was like, awesome, because when I saw the name of the episode was Tuvix, I was like, I am on board already.
Yeah.
And since I did a Voyager rewatch along with Pendy this year. Yep.
Yeah, mine wasn't even a rewatch. I watched it for the first time. So
that's true.
Wow.
That's right.
I recently watched the entire series, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get all these references now. Yay.
And I blame Pendy, because I was starting to watch, like, last Christmas, I think. I started doing a rewatch of TNG, and Pendy's, like, talking about a couple seasons of Voyager. I'm like, oh, man, I want Voyager. And I totally, like, stopped TNG and watched 7 seasons of Voyager.
Well, I think that's a sin. That's like a cardinal offense to Star Trek fans everywhere.
Well, and see, in my defense, season 1, season 2 was a little bit rough with TNG. So I was like, now that I'm on like season 3, season 4, I don't think I would have stopped at that point.
Yeah.
See, Aust is just mad that Harry Kim still hasn't been promoted.
He hasn't. Eternal ensign.
But this was great, and I'm gonna have to definitely reference the Lower Dorks podcast. Totally just discovered them 3 days ago and binged their entire season of 4, and hearing some of the just hilarious things that they caught that I don't know if I would catch so much on these watches, because like there's just too much. There's too much.
These shows are so dense on the references that I was still catching stuff on like the 3rd rewatch.
Oh yeah, yep. One of the things they caught was one of the things that gets recreated during the whole, bad holodeck things are coming. You got the clown from that one episode. But Michael Sullivan from Fairhaven pops up, the Irish bartender that Janeway falls in love with. And I guess in some scenes, he's wiping down consoles on the ship, kind of like he's a bartender wiping down the stuff. Yeah. And he mutters at one point that he misses his wife.
I remember that now,
which is great, because in an episode all about Tuvix, who Janeway murdered, you're talking about, someone else that she virtually murdered. Just deleted his wife from the holodeck.
That's our Janeway.
All the combinations of the different characters were fun to see.
Oh, the meatball at the end. And we can't talk about the season without T'Lyn joins the cast.
Finally, I've been waiting for this since season 2.
Yep, I think this is one that a year and a half people wanted.
Yeah, because at the end of season 2, she leaves the Vulcan ship, and it's kind of like the writing on the wall is, oh, she's going to go join Starfleet. And then season 3 happens. We get Deep Space Nine. Then we see nothing of T'Lyn, and then
She walks
joins
in
the
right
crew.
at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, she walked in that last episode.
I think they had already written and like produced most of season 2 before the fan reaction to Lynn like happened.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. Just like right now, this is airing. Had the strike not been going on, they had already started voice work on season 5. So this is 4. So they'd already started voice work on 5. It's already written. The animation's happening. So I don't think we're gonna get another Moopsie in season 5.
Speaking of Moopsie.
Whoopsie.
We'll get to him in the next episode. Anything else from the Voyager that you just want to give a call out to?
I just not specifically to Voyager, but I just wanted to chime in on T'Lyn, right?
Yeah, T'Lyn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So having her in this season was great, and I think Platty, you had mentioned it in the Discord. It was to the point where her character was so enjoyable that in episodes where there was no T'Lyn, it was kind of a downer because
you notice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the straight man not laughing at the joke and just deadpanning the lines?
It's the best. I am a huge fan of the whole like 2-man kind of Laurel and Hardy kind of humor, and T'Lyn definitely delivers as the straight man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In any whoever you match her up with, she's gonna have that comment that is so on brand. So all right, well, we had her in the first one. I'm not 100% sure she's in the second one. With the second episode was I Have No Bones Yet I Must Flee, and
no, that was mainly Mariner and Boimler episode.
Mm-hmm. So but you know what we get in this one that's pretty good. I mean, we got a little bit at the end of the first one. I think Ransom becomes a pretty awesome character this season.
Yeah, he's been really shaping up because he just seemed like a yes man number 1 in the first season, and he has just grown as a character as the seasons have gone on.
Yeah, because at first he seemed kind of a
he was the joke too.
Yep. But now, the way that he's interacted with not Boimler, but
Mariner.
Well, with Mariner.
Boimler too, because he's taken Boimler under his wings and kind of coached him up. Like he told him you started with Tuvix with him, like, hey, come with me. There might be promotions going out, and even in the second episode, he they bring another ensign with him, and he's like, hey, stick with Boimler. He knows what to do.
Well, he's been a great mentor character. The way that they've built him up into that, and it's been fun to see him interact with both of those characters in terms of that.
So, I think definitely Moopsie in fandom and elsewhere. Moopsie. My kids will still walk around and say Moopsie. I started making a perler bead Moopsie and then went online and saw all the plushes that are on Etsy and was like immediately like, oh God, I just should order a plush. I mean, it's just a big ball with a little face on it and the little arms. So people have been able to whip those out.
Put a stick a voice box in there. Every time you push the paw, it goes,
Moopsie. You just got to be able to have it open up with the fangs inside. But I also love the Rutherford angle that he's trying to get that promotion, and everywhere he turns, you got Ensign Livick doing everything he can. Like, I found a way to increase warp output by 0.005. Oh, Ensign Livick just gave me a way to do it at 0.4006. Oops. It was a great foil for him, and
it's a great foil because you think it's going to be this nice build up to where he finally beats Livick at the game and gets the promotion, and he's like having a breakdown, and Tendy's trying to like reassure him on it. Or no, it wasn't Tendy. It was
oh no, Tendy was there. Yeah.
Oh no, it was Tendy. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
She was trying to reassure him on it, and he goes, "I knew I should have taken that promotion with you guys." She goes,
"Yep.
Wait, what?"
Or he's done a lot of good shit throughout the time.
Like he got a previous promotion that he denied. I think it was like at the end of season 2 or something like that he never took. And then Cindy just goes, "Hey, can you have that promotion?" And Billups just goes, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
He had the pip in the hand ready to put it on Livick and just flicks it over to Rutherford. Well, yeah, Rutherford saved the day a couple seasons. What is it? Like, he beams over at the end of the first season and saves the day with when freaking Peanut Hamster pieces out. He goes over with Shax and saves the day. And then, the whole season 3 mainly revolved around him and the AI ships that were based on his designs.
Yep. That's why I love the cover art for season 3 of Lower Decks, because it's just the search for Spock with Rutherford's face.
Yeah. I like how they're
It's
doing
great that here we are in season 4, and I mean, really, we had nothing to do with whales. But did you know where's the whale stuff
in the intro?
In the intro, yep, that stupid battle with the crystalline entity and the Borg ship, and God, now we got Klingons and Pakleds.
Can't wait to see what
Romulans,
they add in next season.
Now you've got the probe. I think they even have the probe sound in there now, don't they?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
They'll just have like the god, the energy god face from 5 in the next one. I know. Yeah. We'll be on 5 in the next season. So yeah.
Yeah. There you go. That could be good. Then we'll have Naked Uhura in 6.
I forgot about that.
Oh wait, that's in 5 too. Sorry, wrong one.
I was gonna say that
is in 5. Nope. Yep.
I think that's as long as the season's not as bad as that movie. Oh my god.
Oh god. So that was the second one. All right. So the next one we got to was in the Cradle of Vexilon, and they go to the what was this? This was a ring world.
Yeah, it was like a run by an ancient computer that was basically on the fritz.
Yep, it was an AI that was not bad, but just breaking down because it had been running for 100,000 years or whatever.
And I love Boimler just trying to be a leader and just doing everything himself and
do everything himself.
It's not what you need to do. It's like I can't.
No.
You couldn't trust anybody.
This was a good straight man moment with Talin for this episode.
Yeah,
she was basically giving him leadership kind of
tips
while he was trying to show his team how to do stuff.
I liked her. It was near the end, I think. She commented on the mortality rate of lieutenant junior grades leading missions.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that was before or after he died.
That was this was after, right? Because it was second or third season that happened.
No. Like Boimler died in this episode.
Oh, this episode.
Because he goes.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of that room. I'm thinking of his double. I'm thinking of William Boimler.
William's not dead.
Was he not dead?
He's in section 30. No, he's not.
That's right.
Speaking of Chekhov, we have Chekhov Boimler out there.
Yeah, that was season 1, right?
No,
season
it was
2.
the end of season 3. No, it was the end of season 3 because it was him. That was like a post-credit scene, as was Badgie, and we got the payoff for Badgie, but we didn't get the payoff for William.
Right.
Because that was one of the big theories this season. You know, going through the episodes, you're watching a ship do something to all these other ships, and one of the theories was, hey, it's probably William in section 31. Which, when we get to the end of the season, we find out it's not.
It's something else entirely.
Completely out of left field. So this is the scene that the lower dorks played backwards. So when Boimler dies, he gets blown up and lands there. He's in a room. He sees the Black Mountain that Shax had mentioned before to Rutherford about, when you die, you go to the Black Mountain. And the koala's there, which actually one of my favorite things in the entire series is this damn koala.
I know, it's so great.
But the lower dorks played the koala speech backwards, and I Googled it, and sure enough, there's like articles on Screen Rant about it and everything. The koala says backwards, "It's not your time, Bradford Boimler." So, and then suddenly he wakes up, and Ta'ana's like, "Oh shit, I can't believe that worked."
You mean Talin?
No, Dr. Ta'ana was giving him a hypo spray.
Oh, that's right.
She back to life, and she's completely surprised that he's back to life.
It's like, I don't know. I was just doing stuff until it worked.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Kill him?
I did we got to see some working class captain on this one when she was trying to fix the computer, and she just kept making it worse.
Yeah, like she didn't bring down a engineer because didn't she say did she minor in ancient AI or something in college or something like that? Yeah,
she's like, I did that at the academy. I got this.
Yeah.
I got this, Phillips.
I think once or twice she called him, yeah. But and then the other half of the episode was great too. The whole hazing of Tendy and Rutherford back on the ship, and all that shit they find in the the room that they're not with the ancient, or the dangerous stuff room, and it's got the board game from the Move Along Home.
Oh yeah,
and it's got the freaking talking Betazoid box and everything, and
Move Along Home. I know what that is now. It's because I'm starting to watch Discovery.
There you go.
Not Discovery. Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. Yep.
So congratulations, you know about the worst episode of Deep Space Nine.
Chula, that's it, right? Yeah.
Come on, you can recite the rhyme, Aust. I know you know it.
Is it Alamarain? 1, 2, 3. Alamarain. I can't remember all of it.
Move along home, right?
That was a weird episode.
I just love that Rutherford whips through it in like 30 seconds. That
was hilarious.
The whole game, he knew everything.
Yeah, the guy was like, I was stuck in there for a month.
Which was all fake because
he
was totally hazing them. Like, I was convinced that like they weren't getting hazed and that was it. They even talk about it. They're like, oh, Starfleet wouldn't haze us.
Yeah, it was a good they pulled that one. They pulled the rug on us on that one, and it was funny. It was definitely funny.
Yep. Oh, there was a little clip at the end when Mariner's trying to distract the guy and gets talking to him about whatever his favorite music genre is, and I can't remember if it's a Jem'Hadar musician that he really likes at one point.
I thought it was some Klingon jazz or something like that.
Oh, there's a whole bunch. Like, she keeps going in it. And then she's disturbed at the end that he keeps sending her jazz and she likes it. I think she was more disturbed at liking it than the fact that he kept sending it.
I would be too.
All right, so speaking of moving along home, so the next one, we finally get to go to Orion. We got the girls' trip to Orion, something borrowed, something green, because Tendy's sister's getting married and has been kidnapped, apparently.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I liked getting to see more of the Orion culture, and that was fun.
This is real nice.
And Tendy's background and where she came from and her family dynamics. That was fun to watch too.
Because up until this point, we've seen they went to that Orion kind of like black market thing once. What did they call her?
She's the mistress of the
Winter
Constellation.
That was it. And that's like all we really knew. And then she always downplays it whenever someone calls her that. So now we get more backstory on that. Because they go back to the planet because what was it? It was because it was her sister getting married and she got kidnapped. It's customary for the sister to go and try to rescue her.
Yeah.
What was the sister's name? It was
D'Erica.
D'Erica, yeah.
Great name.
Listen, the names are just killer. You got D'Erica. They just put the D in front of Erica.
Yeah.
And then her dad's name was Bert, but it was B''RT.
Yeah.
Like Erica and Bert.
And then the B plot on this one was pretty great because it was Boimler and Rutherford finally having friction as roommates.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! This carries on into future episodes too.
Oh, how it's also a callback.
Their fight.
Yeah. So here's another callback that completely from out of nowhere. The bonsai they're taking care of. In the episode, we'll always have Tom Paris. That's the one where Boimler comes back from being on a Riker ship, and the ship doesn't recognize him. Like, the doors don't open, and he can't get anything out of the replicator and whatever. At one point, he's, like, kicking the replicator all pissed off, and it spits out a bonsai tree. So here we are, 2 seasons later.
Full circle.
And he's still got the bonsai tree.
But the Mark
Twain... And then you're right. You pay off later about the twaining.
Yeah, the Mark Twain negotiation is so funny. It's like, we don't know why this works, but it does. It makes
Although they're
sense.
banned from doing it. Because it didn't work with the that alien dude. Which, again, call back to Star Trek The Next Generation. I recognized it immediately. Did you, Aust? What species that guy was?
I don't remember.
He's the one from when when Picard and a couple people get captured and they're trapped in the room. He's the species that can't eat the nutrient gel. He has to have fresh meat. And he keeps talking about, like, well, I'm going to have to eat one of you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that species, and it's all about scanning the damn nebula. They need to scan the nebula, and they won't let them scan the nebula. The Chalnoth, that's it. And, yeah, the payoff with the bonsai is he bites the bonsai, and that's when he decides to be content and reach an agreement about the whole scanning stuff.
Yeah, my memory of this season is like Bururian said earlier. I need to rewatch this because I don't know why.
I love the gag with what is it? Mariner got stabbed 3 or 4 times in the same exact spot with the knives.
Yeah, that was great. I forgot about that. Again.
Yeah, and the last time she's like ducking down and hiding, and it just goes bing, 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 like a pool ball, and just gets her right there. But this was a good
stuff.
one. Yeah, and we hadn't seen her for a couple episodes. We had. She was right.
No,
in the
no,
last
she
one.
she was
But
she was in the
T'Lyn.
B plot of the last episode. Are you talking about T'Lyn?
You're right, T'Lyn. Yeah. So she is in this one, and yeah, she's studying Orion, like taking notes for the Vulcans because the Vulcans don't know anything about the Orions. Hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
But, and she's got some character growth here where she kind of this is her she's not going back to the Vulcans. She's staying with them.
I think the whole thing was this was her beginning to do that, like at the beginning of the episode. I think it was this one to where she was writing a letter to. No, that's a completely different episode. I think that's
coming. That's the next one.
Yeah, I think it is the next one.
Yep.
So she's kind of having reserves about joining Starfleet and may want to go back to the Vulcan.
In this one, she's just taking all the notes and all the weird shit that happens. She's like, "Oh, Pendy, does this always happen?" She's like, "No," and then it happens again. And she's taking notes on it. And the way she deadpans, it is normal for women to fight each other to the death over a man or whatever. So, I think it was great in this one is how Erica's husband. I don't even think he's mentioned. He's totally a non-part of this. It was all about her sister.
Good old Erica.
Yep.
Ooh, this won't be the last we see of this season.
No, we will not. Or next, probably. Definitely. So the next one, oh god, this was one of my favorite ones. The Beta Z diplomats are on the ship.
Oh yeah.
This was a fantastic episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, empathological fallacies. And I picked up on it right away because T'Lyn's trying to send that report or message and waiting for a reply from her old captain. And she's pounding the frickin' reload button or send or something like that. And you're right away, I was like, wait a minute, what's up with that? Vulcans shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, you got the drunk Beta Zeds going around the ship.
And they had some fantastic voices for them too, because you got Rachel Dratch from SNL fame, and Wendy Malick, who's been on some sitcoms like Just Shoot Me and some other shows like that. They had some good voices for those three ladies.
And the third one is the principal from what's that TV show with the elementary school recently?
Oh, the new one that's been winning all the awards. I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, it's the principal from that show.
Oh, okay.
Her voice
Great.
is so
nice.
Yep. Or I can't remember. I love that show.
But yeah, those three ladies definitely brought some good energy to all the three of those parts.
It was a nice red herring to what was actually going on too.
Oh, completely. So we shouldn't tell Pendy that this is something that happens in Deep Space Nine.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope. So yeah, it's a red herring to a Deep Space Nine episode. But yeah, they think these Betazoid women, because even what is it? Captain talks about it we're all women of a certain age here.
Yeah.
Freeman expects that they have Xanthi fever. They're going through basically Beta Z menopause, and that is completely not what's happening.
Yeah, I was not expecting a covert Betazoid intelligence team.
Oh no, that was awesome. I like when they rip their outfits off and they're dressed like badass Mission Impossible type people.
Oh yeah.
And oh god, the Dr. Ta'ana, her race used to eat Betazoids.
Oh yeah, that was a nice.
What a great little aside. She's licking her lips, and oh god. But at that point, T'Lyn was in charge of getting them more alcohol, and she's got those the yards of alcohol and bringing them to them and they decide they're just gonna go off to the bar anyway, and they don't need them. So what is it? Ta'ana takes one, downs it, and goes into surgery.
I also really like the would this be considered the C plot with Boimler and Shax with trying to get Boimler to relax? Because he was definitely overly stressed, I guess, about stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't remember the names of the different merps, Sleepy Merp and other merp. He was very upset that he couldn't remember everybody's name on the ship and lots of other stuff. So he got special training because security is there for their emotional support as well as their physical well-being. And that had they had the Worf slam poetry.
Yeah, oh, that was great.
And again, everything that they introduce pays off because what is it? The girl with her slam poetry, the Betazoids couldn't read her mind because her mind was so clear from her slam poetry. She even says that at one point. I can't read you. She's like, because I'm so relaxed. So yeah, Boimler goes down to train with the security team, but they're all playing. What is it? They're putting together a Malcolm puzzle and doing Worf slam poetry and. Boimler's very disappointed at the time because he thought he was going to get special security training.
And that definitely was not the case.
Nope. And this is where the little bit of the season-long plot picks up, because those Betazoids were agents being sent to get more information about the ship that's been attacking other ships.
Yeah, we hadn't really talked about that at all.
We hadn't.
It's basically at the beginning of every episode we see ships from previous ships of other alien races from previous seasons, characters we know seemingly get their ships destroyed.
Yeah, you usually see it starts with lower deckers on those ships talking, doing something. And then suddenly they all got to race to the bridge, they're being attacked, and suddenly there's a flash of light. And for most of them you see like debris just floating there, and that's it.
Yeah, when that happened to the Klingon ones, especially after that Klingon lower decker made himself all the way up to captain, I was just like, oh man, I actually felt bad for that guy.
Yeah, they killed the wage dues man.
Yeah. But
I was
seemingly.
Seemingly. Yeah, because I was getting a little upset at first because I was like, oh, they're killing off all these people. And it seemed like maybe a little bit too dark for the show. And then once you find out later, it's like, oh, well, they were just capturing them mostly. I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I picked up on that. I think it was with the Binars that I was like, something seems off. And I think that was the exact episode where they even mentioned that there was no wreckage or something. And
yeah, they start to clue you in the episode. Maybe they are dead.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't the whole Badgie thing just another red herring for the real season
Completely.
though? Yeah.
So,
but when that popped up, I'd just go, oh, of course, Badgie returns, and he's been doing this awful stuff, as Badgie does. But that absolutely, we basically
an episode to get there.
Yeah, we'll get ahead on that.
We'll get there in a minute, but we had to go to Ferenginar. We get to see Grand Nagus Rom.
Isn't this the first time we've actually seen the Ferengi homeworld?
I believe so.
No, they go there in Deep Space Nine. I mean, you don't see much of it, but
okay.
It's the one where there may have been a couple of them where Pork's mom is like being rebellious and wearing clothes and stuff.
But isn't that just like inside their home?
Yeah, but you do get like one of those matte paintings. Yeah, where it shows the city. You know, it's not. You don't really get to see much of it, but
you don't get these signs of
technically I'm correct, which is the best kind. So.
It's hilarious.
Yes, it is. You are technically correct.
It's
God,
hilarious.
all the different places.
It's hilarious that someone would say that a Ferengi woman is wearing clothes, and I know exactly what you're talking about. as to the context.
Pendy knows now. One of us. Lower decks.
But it was fun to see the Ferengi homeworld, and I loved that it was in the context of they had to update their guidebook about all the different planets. So it's like, oh, just go to Ferengi and relax and go to a hotel and see what it's all about, so you can update the guidebook. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, so Boimler's definitely the C plot here with that, because he never leaves the hotel room. He starts watching Ferengi TV.
He gets hooked on TV.
Ads, and I love the what is it? They were not residential cops. They were like rental cops. What is it? They were kicking people out that didn't pay. What's that TV show?
Landlords or something. I can't.
Landlord
remember.
cops or something like that. Yeah,
that is so great. I love that. Landlord cops.
And then they're like advertising stuff, and Boimler flat out is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they actually put the ads inside the TV." And at that exact moment, if you look on the wall behind him, it's the CBSI.
Oh, that's
great.
So as he's saying it, there's an ad for CBS right there. I mean, you can't get that. Yeah, so he never goes anywhere except for that. So, but just Ferengi TV is hilarious.
Yes, all the stuff that they came up with for all those TV shows were great.
So we're now in the 4th season of them playing the long game on, are Rutherford and Tendy a thing or are they not? And I gotta say, I'm tired of this.
Well, you don't like romance.
Well, see, like I feel like in season 1, the first episode, it's kind of like they're hinting at, this is where we're going to go, and then they just sort of make them friends, which I liked at the time. Like they didn't need to make that into a relationship, but at this point, if they ended up together, I would like it because they're like such good friends and they work, they just work well together. I think I would.
Well, they were starting to have a relationship, weren't they? Going to go on a date, and that's when Rutherford got his brain reset. at
Right.
the end of season
Yeah.
1. Yep.
Screwed
Yeah,
everything else.
Was that season 1?
Might have been 2.
Well, remember at the end of season 1, he lost his new implant, so they had to put a new one on.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
And then there was the episode of he was having an issue with his implant because he was making like triple backup copies of every interaction with Pendy because he didn't want to lose it again like he did before.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so I think he did get reset at the end of 1.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that now.
And he didn't like food that he was supposed to like, and
Well, that was a whole subplot to season
That was the
3.
season 3 finale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the big arc for the 3. Yeah.
That
With
was
the
like
Admiral.
that was his original personality kind of bleeding through.
That's right.
The aptly named Admiral Bienamigo. How did nobody see that one coming?
But I will say I did enjoy them squirming the entire episode because the Ferengis were just
great.
basically like, you have to copulate.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, and they had the whole restaurant thing. Yeah, that was great.
Yep. Oh, so here's a little thing that I noticed in the restaurant. They mentioned it somewhere else, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is more than just a funny mix-up, because they do this all the frickin' time in Star Trek. So they go to the bar. It's called the Federation Bar and Grill. But at one point while they're eating, Rutherford calls it the Starfleet Bar and Grill. And how many times in frickin' like Picard season 3 and everywhere in the thing did the Starfleet and Federation get mentioned?
Yeah.
Like they could be either one when they're really not. You got like I think in Picard season 3 at one point they mention a Federation plot when it's not. It's like one subset of Starfleet, and it's like not a Federation plot. It's know this or that, or trying to talk vague because I know Bururian hasn't seen all the way through.
No, it's
but I mean, this is something that happens all the time. Like they
the hierarchy and nomenclature and like I get what you're saying. Yeah, because it's very specific, and it sounds dumb if you do the opposite because one is just a subset of the other.
Yeah. Like, is it a Federation ship or is it a Starfleet ship? Well,
right.
Right.
Yeah, it would be like conflating the U.S. military with the UN.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep. So, it is what it is, but it feels like that's a joke. Also in this episode, because Mariner's down there getting drunk, this is where you start. I mean, and you've had this talk about a plot line that goes all the way through. Like the season, she's like starting to feel something's off now that she's been promoted and everything. Something's off. She didn't like this. Like she's keeping this promotion. She rebels against it. She tries to get knocked back down. But this is what we mentioned earlier. Ransom is like being a good guy here and keeping her up and not knocking her back down. Won't let her get knocked back down. But she's getting drunk here at one point, and there's a scene where she's ordering drinks with her friend, the Ferengi, and the camera kind of pans to follow the waiter, and when it comes back, she's already got a drink in her hand, and he says something to her like, "We just ordered, how'd you get your drink?" And she's like, "Do you even care?" And and it felt like it was kind of like how many scenes and episodes of like any TV show do you have cuts like that where somebody's got a drink in their hand or they don't have a drink in their hand, and like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Unless it's Game of Thrones and they have Starbucks.
Oh yeah. Then you got to digitally edit that shit out,
or not forget to do so and have it air. As it goes sometimes.
Yep. But Pendy and Rutherford get kind of reset. They decide they want to be friends, and then at the end they're like squirming together in the Jeffries tube.
Yeah.
That's where they're most comfortable with each other.
That's where they're. Yep.
I guess I guess at this point, since it's been played for 4 seasons, it's not been really heavy-handed. It's always kind of an episode here, an episode there of there might be a spark here, there might be a spark there. I can respect that more than season 2 of Strange New Worlds, where we have an entire romance cycle in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it when
Very
it's
true.
played out over a longer period of time.
And you're right. There's not like whole will they won't they episodes other than this. Like everything else is just
I think this
The
was
year the
less
F
of
plot.
the will they won't they of they have easily had each had these thoughts before, and they are having the pressure put on them about it. Also, it's against Ferengi law to do what they're doing.
lie to get the couples
Yeah.
discount.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, it was like
Migliamo.
Yeah.
Migliamo in this one at the end. And Migli, you know what? In these 2 episodes, there's a couple. Actually, Migliamo here towards the second half of the season gets some time, and it's hilarious. There's a quote he says in this one when they're asking if he wants the home wrecker discount, because at the end they pretend that like he's in love with them and kept trying to break him up or whatever. And they're like, oh, you want the home wrecker discount? He's like, you don't have to throw up in my mouth twice. He makes bird stuff, and then he gets all pissed in the episode before when the Beta Zeds are making everybody go crazy. He's like beating the shit out of, and he finally, I think, phasers the food replicator because it won't make the soup taste regurgitated enough.
Yeah, he's had some surprisingly good moments in this season.
Yeah,
like he's not always my favorite character, but this season he had some standout stuff that I liked a lot. That was funny.
And yeah, I think the bird shit that ratcheted up to whatever his. I can't remember if it's in one of these episodes or one of the later ones. He mentions that his race, the reason why they actually went into space was to find new recipes. But all right, so we're getting near the end here, but we still got a few badgies more before we wrap up the season, and that's the next episode.
I don't know about you guys, but
more.
I was definitely surprised to see Badgie return. Because I was, you know what, I totally had forgotten at that point that when Rutherford got the implant ripped off his head, we saw Badgie in the eye of it very briefly, and I just completely forgot about it. So when he showed back up, I was just like, holy shit.
Well, and that was the season 3 finale post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Was that his visor getting like sucked up by the Drukmani. And he takes over the Drukmani ship, gets the Cerritos there.
He's basically Borgifying the Drukmani ship. Druk or Drak?
Drukmani. And then he beams over to the ship against the captain's rules. She flat out tells him not to. And you think he wins right away by hugging Badgie. He just gives Badgie the love that he always should have. And Badgie then splits into Gucci and Badgie, which, takes a pun that was not even there and turns it into one.
That's gotta love it.
Yep.
Yeah, the different versions of Badgie were great in this episode.
Logic-y.
Yeah.
And then we had the. How did you guys feel about the B plot with Peanut Hamper?
They did this whole episode was a bunch of rogue AIs, and everything worked out great. And I'll tell you what, this one was like competency porn on Boimler's behalf. Like, it seemed like Agamus was dragging them all around. They let Agamus take over a whole race of people, and Boimler's just like, sitting back just because he knows what's going to go on with this whole thing. And
yeah, I mean, he did it to Agamus before in another season. Mm-hmm. He basically faked him out because Agamus thinks he's beneath, he thinks Boimler is beneath himself, and he got played.
Yep,
just like he got played here.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
and Peanut Hamster's actually rehabilitated.
Yeah, and
surprise!
I wanted to not like all the Peanut Hamster stuff, just because there was I forget what season it was with the Peanut Hamster episode where it was just her pretty much the whole episode, and it was my most disliked episode out of the entire series. Yeah,
are you doing that? Are you doing it on purpose, Pendy? Are you calling him Peanut Hamster on purpose?
Yes. But no, I like her redemption here, and her as like a part of a cast is great. Just having her by herself, not so much. That wasn't my favorite episode, but how they used her here in a few badges more, that was great. I liked her turn of events, her turn of character with this.
Yeah, I mean, I felt this whole episode was great. Both sides of it. It gets a little ridiculous with frickin' Badgie ascending and being the size of the entire the Milky Way galaxy. Like, he's gonna take over wasn't he gonna blow up the warp drives of everybody?
Yeah, and just kind of destroy that quadrant.
Mm-hmm. And then with infinite power came, well, I really don't need to do anything. It's fine. And then he ascends. You get the koala again. 2 koalas in one season. Made up for the fact that we didn't see Matt the dolphin this season.
Oh, yeah, we didn't.
Or wait, I think he got Tuvixed. One of them got Tuvixed a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Yeah, but that was just a kind of background thing.
And then we got at the very end of this episode. It was the very end of this one because it was not. I remember it being closer to this middle of the season, but we got confirmation that the ships weren't being destroyed; they were being captured.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes, and that's why they went to Agamus, right? Agamus had intel on it, and he flat out tells Boimler that they're not being destroyed. I know this is the one with the it had the Binars in it.
Yeah,
this was the Binar ship, and then Agamus tells them that's how he got Boimler to come to him when Boimler did not want to go, but they're like, no, Agamus, you got to go there to get the intel from him. And Agamus is like, because he's got those little drones now that he can just send out. And I guess he recorded that the Bynar ship was captured, not destroyed. And then we just get a completely standalone episode in the next one, the caves.
We basically got a clip show.
Yep.
For this episode.
It was clips that we hadn't seen.
Yeah. It was like, I think these were all things that had been mentioned in passing at some point, and so we actually got to see what they were, I feel like, at least.
No, I think this is all new stuff.
Oh, you think this is all new? You're probably right.
Well, it's because they hadn't seen each other in a while. They have to go to a cave and do some research on something, and they're like, oh, we haven't done a mission together in a while. So it's kind of like, fast forward a little bit. And while they're down there and they get trapped in the, the ooze or something?
Yeah, like it was cave moss.
Cave moss.
It was cave moss that was basically consuming everything organic that wasn't the rock. Mm-hmm. So they were trapped.
But they're like, oh, didn't tell you that, I had a baby. Rutherford had a baby in a cave on another planet where he was stuck with Dr. Ta'ana.
Oh, yeah. That's right, because the alien was supposed to be like, it was supposed to lead them out of the tunnels, and then it got killed somehow, but it like psionically or telepathically impregnated Rutherford.
Yep.
And then once the baby was born, it was like, we mature in 24 hours or some junk like that.
The definite reference to Voyager.
Oh yeah, I'm sure all of these were heavily referenced to stuff. Well, what is it? Boimler is stuck with the conspiracy theorist, the guy who keeps talking about the Vendorians, which I had not seen the animated series episode about the Vendorians, which are apparently super powerful, like Q-like beings that just want to study and morality test humans and other people.
I don't even remember. That's not the Lucifer episode, is it?
I'm not sure. It's a TAS thing completely. But yeah, I'm not familiar enough with that. But they do TAS stuff a lot. Oh, going back a few episodes when they were on or something, when they were on Orion earlier, the guys that I was listening to said they freeze framed and went and double checked, but apparently they were pouring some Orion drink and the bottle was a face, and the face was the Orion from an episode of TAS.
Oh.
Like, how do you freaking remember that shit?
Yeah, I can't. I've seen TAS like 3 times all the way through, and I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, I think I saw it once, like 20 years ago.
Uh-huh. Well, it's probably best forgotten, except for Big Spock.
There's like 2 episodes that I think are worth watching.
And then Big Spock has been brought back already.
Yeah.
The Collector had his bones.
Yeah.
So Boimler's got that. He's trapped in a cave on one planet, and Rutherford had been trapped in a cave on a planet. Mariner had that very disturbing episode where she's trapped on a cave with some of the Delta Shift people that they all hate.
That's right.
And there's like that time. It's not a time crystal, but like it's some sort of time thing. It causes a time dilation as they get close to it. They get older, and as they walk away from it, they get younger. So she has one guy goes towards it and like breaks his leg.
And it just comes clean off.
Oh yeah, she's like, "Oh, just keep going. It'll be fine. It'll heal when you come back." And it doesn't. It just falls off. Like,
we'll just regenerate it when we get back to the ship.
Yeah, that was disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Pendy had a story about them being trapped in the turbo lift and them all becoming friends when she got it. Hers was actually like a way throwback.
Oh, their first day on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah.
And then at the end, it turns out that the conspiracy guy was right. It was the Vendorians the whole time.
Yeah, because wasn't there something like, oh, yeah, look, there's a ship. We can get out of here. And Boimler just destroys it or does something to it.
Oh, there's something like that. But yeah, that Lieutenant Levy just completely, like, I think he's eating dinner at one point. They're sitting eating dinner with the Vendorians or something. And he just, like, gives all these crazy conspiracy theories. And it was just a really funny scene of just all this shit. Wolf 359 was an inside job. Picard was a hologram or something like that. He says at one point.
Yeah, all of that was pretty great references.
Oh yeah, and a lot of it is like fan theory throughout the years.
Oh yeah,
off the wall ones, but. All right, and then we might as well talk about these two together. The last 2 episodes wrap up the season long plot of what's going on with these ships that are getting captured. Why do we see all the lower deckers in them all the time? And holy shit, like the media in Strange New Worlds, they gave the media all access to the first 6 episodes, held back the crossover from them. Lower Decks gave everybody the first 8 episodes, held back the last 2 until the week of, because this was like out of nowhere. You get frickin' Nick Locarno plotline.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite things to reference from Next Generation too.
I remember you having talked about this before. Yes.
Yeah, I love that they brought him back.
They even made the same joke twice.
Yeah, I didn't like that. They should have only done it once.
But he does look a lot like him. You don't see it?
Look like Tom Paris.
So, Nick Locarno, for those of you who don't know, if you're listening to this podcast this long, I'm sure you probably know the TNG stuff of this. But yeah, he was the guy who got Wesley in trouble in Starfleet Academy. They did the banned Starburst maneuver at the Academy, and somebody died. And they brought that back later in TNG with what was her name? The girl, the Bajoran girl,
who ended up being a spy or something.
Cedo,
yeah. She comes back in an episode, and Picard sends her on a mission. And she dies. She dies on a undercover mission. I think she has to go with a Cardassian guy and like pretend to be his captured Bajoran, and something goes south, and you just at the end of the episode she dies, and she's in the episode of TNG Lower Decks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
that's that's the episode in which she dies, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
yeah, she was in the episode. I can't remember what the name of it was when they were at the Academy.
Yeah,
but that was one episode.
Yeah.
Which Nick Locarno was played by the what is it?
Robert Duncan McNeil.
Yep. God, I was gonna screw it up because the stupid lower dork guys kept calling him Rubber Ducky McNeil. But yeah, they, much like Ensign Ro, played a daughter of another alien about a season and a half before they brought her back as Ensign Ro. McNeil played Nick Locarno, and then 8 years later, they brought back that actor to be Tom Paris.
It wasn't even that long, because that was like in TNG season 6.
Oh, it would have. So then it would have been just like 2 years later, because Voyager started right after. Yeah.
Because Tom Paris was supposed to be Nick Locarno. Like they had
There's a lot of rumors that go on about why they didn't want to pay some writer royalty.
Yeah, that's what it was. I think, and that's on one of the special DVD features they mentioned that's the reason why.
But like I've heard that talked about, and I've heard other people talk about, like, that's not what happens. Just because you write about a character, like years later, they own the rights to that. It's not like
they created the character though. The writer.
Yeah,
created.
I mean, you even saw that. I don't know if it was successful or not, but the person who wrote the novels for Dragon Quest V ended up suing the people who did Dragon Quest Your Story because they used the same name that she created for the Dragon Quest V protagonist.
Oh, I do remember that, yeah.
I thought it was, hey, you're stealing my character that I created for these books, of this adaptation of the video game. So I don't know. Well,
there you go. That Dragon Quest proves it in the end. So but no, I could see where that would be a thing. So like, we'll just use the same actor, give him a different name, give him the same backstory, and pretty much, and ta-da.
Oh.
Now he's not a killer, at least, But, it turns out that he's the one who's been capturing all these ships to do his, Starburst fleet? Nova fleet, that's it. And the way he's been doing it is by preying on the lower deckers and, like, telling them, like, you guys have just been downtrodden so long, join me, and together we'll have our Nova fleet. And for what? I don't know why. That was a little vague. He wanted to have a fleet, and he wanted to be legitimate, but, like, legitimately what? Just because? I mean, just because he kind of like he wanted to do the Nova burst or whatever, the Starburst. Why? Just because he wanted to do it. And, we get payoffs. Oh, we get whole season payoffs of this. You get the Binars with the one that the one that kind of you could tell was turning them in. They're actually Trinars. I guess they're maybe not the kind of relationships they want in Binar society. They got the Trinars this time. And they've ridiculously set up a field around an entire star system. It's not just a planetary field; they got a star system field.
You mean like a Dyson sphere kind of thing?
Well, it wasn't a solid; it was an energy thing. It wasn't completely a.
Oh, that's right. It was like a special force field that Nick Locano had them make so that they could trap everybody could be in and not leave, because it was the big thing about it. Later on, when Mariner was trying to escape Locarno, was that nothing can get in or out as long as that shield is up.
Correct. The Trinar field or something like that.
Yeah, because it looked like triangle, so try. Right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. There you go. Hey, it's right there. It's on the nose.
Sometimes the simplest explanation, right?
So, but Mariner, early on in the 2 episodes, we get her backstory. Like, why is she always wanted to get knocked down in rank? Why is she always wanted to, why is she like she is? And it's because she was BFFs with Cedo. We see her in the flashback to, they brought in, what's his name? Wesley. They got Robert Duncan McNeil to do some voices.
We actually got some Wesley Crusher in this episode.
They found the actress who played Cedo and got a few lines out of her.
Yeah.
She hadn't done anything in a decade, and they hired her to do some voice work. And
yeah, the last thing she did was in 1995, apparently.
Oh, geez. So, yeah, you're looking at almost 20 years. Wow. Tracking her down. Wait, 30? 30 years almost. Yeah, bit actors, it's hard to make a career out of that. But, Mariner, just breaks down with our favorite guy who's not dead, Pendy. You should be happy. The Klingon was not dead.
That's right.
Our way douche captain.
All those people that I thought were dead actually survived. I was
happy about that, too.
Her and him get into a battle until it starts raining glass.
That's right.
And then she breaks down that, she's a true believer in Starfleet, but Starfleet sent her best friend out to die. Mm-hmm. And she never wants to be part of sending people out to die. So you don't want to be an officer because you might have to send people out and they might die. And she's not about that. So thus the fear of being promoted.
Yeah, it was a good moment for her character emotionally in that scene, and I also thought it was a great moment for her character when she was pretending to play along with Nick Locarno, and then the camera goes to her, and then she's like,
He's lying to you all.
Yeah. gets the Genesis and runs away.
Grabs the Genesis device, which we had been shown a few episodes before. Like the Ferengi just had some miniature Genesis device sitting down in their lower decks.
Yeah.
So here we go 5 episodes later. It's like, oh shit, we're going to take this Genesis device, and if you come after us, we can shoot you with the Genesis device. And she grabs the Genesis device and takes off. You get the chase through the ice fields, which is, like a chase through asteroid fields or whatever. And then you get the flat out Star Trek 2 in the Nebula battle, right out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
he beams on board, tries to steal back the Genesis device, take out Mariner. And what does Mariner do?
That's great.
She activates the Genesis device.
Yep.
And like, see you later, sucker. But while we have to remember, while all of this is going on, because Mariner got inside the Trinar field, everybody else was trying to figure out how to get into inside the force field, basically. So what do? Captain Freeman goes to the Orion. They go to the Orions, and they go to Erica to ask for assistance, Tendy specifically, and we get a nice little, well, if I give you something, you have to do something for me, or you have to give me something in return, So Tendy here agrees. All right, if you give us a ship, you can have me after this is all done.
Yeah, at first they wanted the Cerritos. They were trying to barter with that, but and in a great thing that I think pays off a little bit later, they call the Cerritos it's not a garbage cow like in TOS, but they call it a second-rate ship that's just a support vessel, which pisses them off. We're not just a support vessel, but at the end they are a support vessel. That
is true. Yeah, because they get the ship, and it's
that big battle cruiser, something like that.
And yes, Erica gave them a ship, just not a working ship.
Yep.
So what do they do with the not working ship?
Tow it and fling it. They are a support vessel. They had to tow it. They became a tug. The Cerritos turned into a tug.
But we get a really good scene here of once Captain, I think it's Captain Freeman and everybody on the shuttle that races through. Mm-hmm. So we get a moment of Boimler as acting captain.
Yes, that was awesome.
And so Freeman and the crew goes through to assist Mariner. What else is there anything else that's going on about this time? I think while all that was happening, Locarno and Mariner were having their discussion of morality, and how Locarno was just like, Starfleet did me dirty, I'm going to do my own thing, and Mariner successfully kind of turns some of his own fleet against him with the whole, we're all equals, we all give orders, and he's trying to give them orders, and they're just like, well, we're not having any of this.
Yeah, he got them all because they're lower deckers and they're sick of following orders, and so like we're all equals here. And then at the end, he bosses them all around. I think he flat out says at one point, like, "I'm your leader," or something like that, and
and so
turns everybody off.
And so when they're having their fight in the ship, and she activates the Genesis device, Locarno tries to shoot. I think it was Locarno tries to shoot her, and she gets beamed out right before she gets shot.
Oh, and the scene with him with the freaking Ferengi Genesis device.
I know, that was great. He's just like, of course a Ferengi would put a freaking paywall on a deactivation.
Yeah, he's putting in the code to turn it off, and it's like, please insert 2 codes, 2 bars of Latinum.
Yeah. Gold pressed Latinum.
And he blows up, and a new planet is formed.
With using they specifically say using his DNA, because they make
a point of that.
Because that's we all know what a Genesis device does. But for those of you who are still listening, almost 3 hours later, a Genesis device basically takes all of the atoms and everything in a given area of the Genesis device and makes a habitable world out of it.
Which they mention is going to be used for refugees. Which is interesting because this starts to get...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't match up year by year, but you're getting close to the Romulan refugee crisis.
That's true, yeah. And just because they specifically mentioned, I think once or twice, that his DNA was used in creating the world, that they're probably going to do something with that later. Or it's just a one-off line and we're thinking too hard on it.
Yep. Hey, listen, we still got... Was it William out there we got to deal with at some point?
Yeah.
Being part of he's got his black badge for Section 31. What else we got to... what we didn't have this season? We did not have another movie episode, like where they're going to start...
You're right, we did.
Yep.
Because we got the Caves episode in its stead.
Yeah, that seems like the...
it might be too soon to do another movie one.
We might get one next season then. But now we get something that everybody else has had up until this point. Pendy goes off to complete her deal with Erica and goes back to the Orion homeworld. And Pendy gets to go off on her own little adventure now, which up until this point, the rest of the Lower Deckers had done it. And it's now Pendy's turn at season 4.
Yeah, Boimler became Bold Boimler. Boimler is now promoted. Boimler's now he got a seat in the captain's chair for this. He's had a lot of arcs. I mean, obviously, Mariner. This whole last 2 especially episode 9, the inner fight. Like we get all the stuff that she's been through. We get that full explanation here. Rutherford, that was last season, and even season 1 a little bit. With his old memories and what had happened to him before. So yeah, time for Pendy.
It's Pendy's turn.
And in the meanwhile, T'Lyn is not going back to the Vulcans.
So we get our 5th member of the Lower Decks crew.
Yeah, we got the Fab 5. So what do you think? Pendy in episode 1, are they going to wrap it up real quick like they did with Captain Freeman when she got arrested by the pack lads, or are we going to draw it out like 2 episodes like Boimler
maybe 2 episodes
being gone? Yeah,
I think what it's going to be is the first episode is going to be dealing with her leaving to go back to the Orion homeworld, and then at the end of episode 2 she's back.
Yeah, I think she's got to be the B plot at least twice, or the A plot in one or B plot in the other, and got to have the others doing something else. We got a lot of people pairing up differently this season.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at one point, Mariner and Boimler come together in one episode. They're kind of paired up, and they even say, like, "Oh, we haven't been paired up recently."
Wasn't that the Voyager episode with early in the season 2?
Was it? I don't know. Very well could have been.
Yeah. It was like I liked the episode where they go to the Orion homeworld, and it was basically Girl Squad. We had the nice episode. I can't remember if it was last season or season 2 of where it was Pendy and Mariner when they go to recover that thing for T'Ana.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was the one where we saw the Orion outpost where she had to. Mariner pretended to be Orion.
Yes. So Yeah, this show has been evolving very nicely. Like all character interactions have been great. And now our lower deckers are growing up.
Yeah. It's great that they've gone low enough that they can just keep referencing themselves at this point. Like, it doesn't always have to be callbacks to other, like, they're never going to stop doing that anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they do callbacks to themselves at this point. You know, you get the Black Mountain.
Yeah.
You see a Black Mountain. And
season 1 callback. I mean, the koala. Tendy saw the koala. Tendy didn't see the koala, but she heard the guy ascending talk about a koala.
Yeah, and she told Boimler that one time, it's best not to talk about that. Like, because he almost died, he drowned with the dolphins. And when he kind of like comes to, he's like, I saw a koala. And I think she's the one who's like, it's best not to talk about that.
Yeah, after about 4 seasons, you do get a lot of internal references. It's about time we got to that point.
That's what you want in a show like this. Anyways, they've got plenty of stuff to build on, outside of the entire pantheon of the Star Trek lore. And now they can play around in their own sandbox.
Yes, they've got a whole playground. But yeah, they've got their own sandbox definitely now. All right, guys, time to put a bow on this.
I think so.
Time to warp out of here.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this episode of Slime Time Sidequest. Thanks, Major Sergeant Pendy, Commander Aust, and Admiral Bururian for joining me to nerd out about some Star Trek tonight.
Moopsie.
Whatever you'd like to say.
Well done. Well done, Admiral. Or Commander. Well done, Commander. All right, well, that's it for this episode of Slime Time. As I like to remind people often, we don't crowdsource or dynamically insert ads you don't give two shits about. We're grown-ass adults that like to talk about video games, Star Trek, or whatever other topics we enjoy, and we don't need a dime of your money to do so. But if you got some dimes and you'd like to contribute to DQ fandom, feel free to head on over to the Dragon's Den, donate some money to Woodus, who's paid to keep those lights on for decades, or use one of his affiliate links to buy Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest Monsters 3, quite literally anything else on Amazon. I think I bought like $2,000 worth of Switches and games and accessories for a club at school a couple years ago, and he got like $5. So, tons of that money.
Every time I go and make video game purchases on Amazon, I always use his affiliate links.
Nice. So go on over there, donate some money to Woodus. He's got a lot of people that are contributing to Dragon Quest 3, Dragon Quest Monsters 3 information. Website that's being set up has generously decided, like, hey, told Woodus, we'll give you all our spreadsheets and everything. You can have that information because, people visit the dead for that kind of stuff. He messaged Pendy and me and a couple others about what his web traffic is up like 500% or something.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah, by a lot.
Yep.
That was excellent.
Yep. So go help him out.
I fly the ship.
Live
I'm
long
Pendy.
and
I fly
prosper
the
all.
Side quest complete.
This is Gertrude for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.